breaks across the plains. Hope rekindles in the crimson tide, as freedom's anthem calls our names. Great again, we rise as one, under stars that guide our way. A song of promise has begun, and strength returns in light of day. Fields of dreams are ripe once more. Factories hum with honest pride. Our banner waves on every shore, with courage marching by our side. Great again, we rise as one, under stars that guide our way. A song of promise has begun, and strength returns in light of day. Through trials dark, we found our steel. The eagle's cry breaks through the night. In unity, our wounds now heal. We chase the dawn with fearless light. Great again, we rise as one, under stars that guide our way. A song of promise has begun, and strength returns in light of day.
What's up, everybody? What's going on? How's everybody doing? Let's see who's out here.
How are you, Rich?
All right, I'm good. What's up, Simon? Good to see you, man. Who else is out here?
I know if you're going to keep that drummer, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. I like the guy. You know, he never calls out sick. He never complains. You know, I'm just saying.
He just makes noise.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Yeah. Can't complain. Doesn't help. You know.
Can't complain.
What's everybody doing? Where is
complain.
everybody?
Can't complain. Nobody listens.
I gotta turn this down because this thing is making my ugly come through. Damn. All right. So, how was your week anyway?
Man, I've been tired this week. I am like exhausted today.
How's the recovery going?
That's part of it, man. Everything, every molecule of energy I've got is going into my recovery.
Yeah,
I think I'm doing okay though. I'm getting around.
Good.
Yeah.
Let's wait for a couple more to come in before we start the show.
I don't see any comments in the chat. That's unusual.
Yeah, I know. Maybe it's down.
How you doing, guys? How you doing? Let us know.
Yeah.
Let us know.
It usually takes a few minutes for people to start to come in. Let's see. I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to get everything out of the way. Here we go. I don't want that. Man, I caught a lot of crap for for the China angle on the Iran thing.
You caught crap for that?
Oh yeah, because the Jew haters, they're all the Jew haters are out there, I understand them, but
well, you'll just notice that China's been like sitting on their little chair in the back and just doing their homework and not saying much.
Yeah, they are. It's just, I mean, I get it. You know, I get it. There's a cottage industry. Yeah, Israel's not a great country when it comes to doing some really awful things. And I mean awful things. But like I always say, I don't give them a pass, right, on most of it. But some of it, I understand it because
Well,
you go back to the armistice agreements. The Arabs signed on to it, but they never agreed with it. And one day old Israel got attacked by like 4 or 5 countries, and it's never changed. Okay. Now they do awful things. Yeah, I get it. They have to. You know,
like the time that they bombed all those pagers.
yeah. And then
I mean,
it's funny because then Hamas said, "Oh, now we'll use walkie-talkies," and they blew up the walkie-talkies.
yeah.
They really did that shit.
Except they were holding them to their face that time.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. All right, let's at least get into. Let's start showing. What we're going to do tonight. I'm introducing a new segment tonight. It's called Progressive Zen. You guys ought to like that. It's going to be hopefully a weekly thing that we can share with you. Okay, here we go. So here's the top stories. I think there's 41 of them for the top. Trump's favorability ratings with his voting base tops all previous presidents. Woohoo. 1.3 million Californians just forced a voter ID fight, and Gavin Newsom can't stop it this time.
Yeah.
It means they're going to lose, right? New study, ICE core data shows modern warming is statistically unremarkable. In other words, there's no global warming. There's no climate change problem. Colorado, here we go. All right. So the governor, the Democrat governor, is actually considering giving clemency to Tina Peters. I think he's going to. Where do you hear the story? So here we go. A liberal news outlet praises Trump's Iran campaign, stunning operational success. Inspection of truck drivers in one state nabbed more than 600 drivers who couldn't speak English, which means they can't read English signs, which means they cause all kinds of havoc on the road and deaths. The diplomatic reset in Venezuela is now official. Ex-Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice urges Trump admin to take care of Iran for good, render them incapable. Now, she's a rhino from the establishment, Bushies, okay? But I've always liked her because she was never a BS artist. She would go out there, she was very serious, and she would do her thing, right?
And not stupid.
Right, it's not stupid at all, but she would do her thing. And yes, there were times where she had to, give lip service to the Biden Biden. Oh, Jesus, to the Bush administration, but she worked for the Bush administration, so you got to do that, right? And you could tell sometimes she wasn't sincere, but but I like her. Fetterman, Democrats are too afraid to agree with Trump on anything. True. I think he's going to get reelected in my state. Trump, oil beginning to flow from Venezuela. Here's a very nice cup you can buy from me if you click the link. Jimmy Kimmel jokes Trump should let him host the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Yeah, when donkeys fly. Think of the ratings. My only response would be Ukfe Uye. And for those of you who understand Pig Latin, Hillary Clinton's team spent 7 hours engineering the perfect camera angle and lighting before her Epstein deposition. Can you believe she's being brought in for a deposition and she gets to argue what does she think she is? Joan Rivers, who I actually love, by the way. Anyway, Tim Walz erupts in a fit of rage after Nancy Mace asks him, what is a woman? That's funny. That's good. Why Kennedy is right about, what is it, glyphosate?
Glycophosphate.
What is it?
It should be glycophosphate, I think.
Glyco. Well, I just copied the headline, glycophosphate. And a lot of people ask me, what is Trump thinking about? There's a good reason for it. And I know it's Roundup, and I know, but wait till we get to it. All right. The fall of the NGO administrative complex. Soros. Yeah. Flashback number one. Cornyn, John, you know about the war that's going on in Texas, right? You got Paxton, who's the AG, and he's running for Cornyn's seat. And we'll get into what he just did, which Scott Pressler called him a hero, and I think he is too for doing it. Paxton, they tried to get rid of him, the rhinos and the Democrats, and he won the recall. Anyway, so Cornyn claimed Trump couldn't win the 2024 election. So it's who is Trump going to endorse? And there's a story we're going to do that says, Trump lived through all these things, but he'll never live through if he endorses this guy. But I think there's an out. America got a threefer the other night. 3 Trump haters went down in a ball of flames. Right. And here's another one on Tina Peters' lawfare nightmare could finally be. It's a different angle of the story. And then why Trump took on Iran. What is wrong with them? A Dem bill would flood schools, churches, and hospitals with squatters.
I want to hear that.
You remember in New York when they took a school that had children in the school, and they said, "You're gonna learn from home. F you. You're going home, and we're gonna put all these illegals in there." And they go, "They never did that." No, they did, but so many people and the unions complained so much, so fast. They said, all right, we'll find another place for them. Here we go. Another flashback. Cornyn supported the deranged Jack Smith. And yet, I think Trump has to endorse him, and you'll find out why. U.S. energy muscle keeps oil under $100 despite the Iran conflict. Now, the libnuts, they've all been saying, the gasoline's going to go up, man. Well, guess what? They're finding out that oil is under $100 per barrel. Judge threats surge as Trump attacks courts, and the White House rejects any link. Here we go. Gen Z is realizing their college degree might be worthless. Well, you go for gender studies.
No shit.
Here it is. This is it. Paxton. I like this guy. Paxton sets conditions to consider Senate race withdrawal. And when you hear it, you'll be like, wow.
Yeah, I want to hear that.
That's a big guy to do what he's doing. Operation, because he would make a good senator. Operation Epic Fury destroys Iran's navy and cuts missile attacks by 90% in an ongoing campaign. Breaking update. Biden auto pen investigation is ongoing, not closed. That's Judge Jeanine Pirro.
Yeah, who was running America? I've asked that question. I asked that question for 4 years.
Oh, yeah. Private payrolls jumped by 63,000 in February, much more than expected. All right. Hillary Clinton has an unhinged meltdown in the Epstein hearing over a photo. You'll see that. House Oversight Committee grills Walz and Ellison over Minnesota fraud. Caroline Leavitt serves up brutal takedown of CNN's star reporter, that bitch, disingenuous Iran narrative. James Tallarico thinks the GOP will call him a radical leftist because he's a radical leftist. He is. And the guy that won the primary, he comes out in a video and says, I've worked with this guy. He is evil to the core. And he is. He comes off Christian. He comes off. Yeah, he's a fake Christian. He comes off like he'll be the one that says, well, Jesus thinks that illegal aliens are welcome here, that they don't have to, and they should be able to vote. Like this is what Jesus. Yeah, they bastardized the Bible and Christianity. And they wonder why nobody wants to talk to them. China guides down. Beijing drops economic growth target to lowest level in 35 years. And that's what my video was about. How going after Iran, look, Marco Rubio gave the perfect answer. It was yesterday or the day before to reporters when he said why we have to take them out. Okay. So we have to take them out because for nearly 50 years, they've been telling us, well, we're going to get a bomb and we're going to blow up the U.S. We're the big Satan. Israel's the little Satan. Okay. But they're going to blow up the U.S. I don't give a rat's ass about blowing up things in the Middle East, including Israel, because I'm an American citizen. I live in the U.S. and I want to make sure that the people that have the power here, that they believe them when they say that. So Trump going after them is a twofer. Okay. The one is we get to knock them out, their ambitions of having nukes. Right. And now the people have to take over. Trump may be there till like September, he said, but it's not an ongoing war. We are making sure that the people get stirred up enough, but they got to take out all the people that could be dangerous to them, which is what they're doing. It's ongoing. Okay. By doing this, all right, he killed China's ambitions for like a world domination. We'll get into that. Sleepy Joe is lucky AI wasn't as sophisticated when he was in office as it is today. It's a great video. CNN. Republicans love Donald Trump more than any president's own party's supporters. That's CNN. Remember, it's the guy we all like, but CNN has to admit this. Right? Look at it. 77, Obama 77, Trump 86%. Kristi Noem out. By now, you know all the horrible things she did. And if you don't, we're going to go over them. She did do some really dumb shit. Kurdish forces in Iraq have launched a ground invasion. against Iran. Now, why did they do that? Because Iran started bombing all these other countries, right? U.S. bases. And they thought, oh, these other Arab countries, because in the Middle East, it's always you have the Sunni and the Shiite, and they usually, if the West is involved in a war, they drop all their hatred for each other and they band together and they fight. Not this time. Not this time. You had Qatar. You had Qatar actually launching missiles at Israel, at Iran. All right. And then all these other countries are now they're getting together and attacking. I don't know if it's going to increase the Abraham Accords or not. I don't know.
But Iran has a generational war against the Kurds.
Right. Oh, well, Iran also, so did Iraq, but Iran also has generational war against us. People say, well, they didn't attack us. They've been attacking us for 47 fucking years.
Yeah.
All these proxy assholes, the Houthis and Hezbollah, and all of them, they're all funded by Iran, by others too. Matter of fact, Qatar. But I mean, come on. They set up all the IEDs, right? They're the ones that they blew up the barracks, the Marines in the barracks. One guy who I graduated with was in those barracks and got killed. I mean, there's just countless things that they've done to kill Americans. So don't tell me, they didn't do anything. They didn't attack anybody. Okay, genius. All right, Congress rejects measures to halt Trump's attacks on Iran.
Yeah.
The Democrats wanted to halt. And another thing, Marco, I should have put that video up for tonight. I'll find it before the night's over. But Marco pointed out, because a reporter said, why didn't you guys go to Congress? He goes, we did go to Congress. He goes, we absolutely did. And he goes, we told the Gang of Eight, he goes, which I used to be a part of. He said, the Constitution doesn't say that we have to notify all 535. He goes, it's impossible to do that. He goes, we notified the Gang of Eight. We did it before the attacks. He said, we're not going to notify all 535, but we did notify him. And he said, and guess what? There is nothing in that law that says that we have to. He goes, like before. He said, there's nothing in there. He goes, we told them before, but we could have told them right after it started. And I go, why would you do that? And he's like, well, because many of the people in the 535 would leak. All right, so let's move on. The Supreme Court hands the Trump administration a huge victory on handling bogus asylum claims. This is good. And then Keith Olbermann, the moron, he should have stuck to sports. Destroyed by fans after calling Lou Holtz a legendary scumbag. So let's see who's all here. Hey, what's up, Louie? Most Christians are fake. There you go. Where's Gina? I don't know. Let's see.
I'm not sure I can disagree with that. I think
what?
Christians, a lot of people who present as Christians, you wonder.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, a lot of them are, but I'm gonna be. I don't want to bust any Christians' balls because you do you, right? Yeah, let's see. So
yeah, I'm not looking to cut anybody up, but it really amazes me when you see somebody going. They've got one of those. What is it? One of those coexist stickers on the back.
Yeah. It's like coexist with your lips on my ass. That's what I.
Yeah, no, it's coexist. In the meantime, they're like cutting people off and jumping in front, and
yeah, absolutely.
Just completely.
Yeah. All right, let's get started. For those that weren't here, we're going to introduce a new segment. It's called Progressive Zen. I think you guys will like it. Each week, we're going to come in with something new on that front.
And it looks like there's no shortage of material.
Oh, I know. No shortage of material. So here we go. So Trump's favorability. Let's start with that. Okay, this is Just the News? Yeah, Just the News, John Solomon's gig. So strong approval within their own party is now at 53% for Trump. Again, higher than Obama and Bush at this point in their second terms, whose strong approval ratings were 48 and 47, respectively. Multiple new polls show President Donald Trump's approval rating within his party is higher than any other president in history. Quote, Republicans love Donald Trump more than any president's own party's supporters loved him at this particular time. So Harry Anton, let's just go down to the video. There's got to be there's no video. Yeah, there is. There has to be. Let's see. Fox News poll. Where is it? Harry Anton. There it is. Okay.
Yeah, I like to see Harry Anton making his.
Hold on. There's no button to share it. So hold on. Why is it no button to share it?
Must be.
Oh, there it is. It's up. It didn't even ask if I want. You know what? That might be something new. Hold on. Yeah, that might be something new. How about that? All right,
It's up
cool.
already. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I didn't have to say share. That's pretty cool. All right, here we go.
Republicans love Donald Trump more than any president's own party supporters loved him at this particular point. Just take a look here. Okay, own party supporters, 21st century presidents, own party approval about at this point in the second term. Bush was at 77%. Obama was at 77%. Look at this. 86% of Republicans approve of the job that Donald Trump is doing at this point. That is higher than either Obama or Bush had within their own party at this point. Trump's magic touch has not seen the war off yet when it comes to the Republican base.
And what kind of approval are we talking about here?
Okay, so we're talking about overall approval here. How about the strongly approved, not just like, but love. Okay, we're going to look at these same presidents again. Strong approval among your own party's base. What you see here is Trump is the only one who gets a majority at this point in their presidency. Obama was at 48%. Bush was at 47%. You see here Trump at 53%, not as high as overall approval rating, but still getting a majority of the Republican base, at least in the average of polls, to say that they still really, really, really like it.
And the rebuttal?
Yeah. Yeah, really. What's
Waiting
the
for
rebuttal? You got to
waiting-
let the Democrats in.
Yeah,
Hey, what's up, Linda? Good to see you. Anglo, what's up, brother? Good to see you. Let's see. Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
what I love about Harry
Hold on, please.
Oh,
Thank you
oh,
so
oh.
much. Thank you so much, Anglo. Love you, brother. Thank you, man. I really appreciate this.
Yeah, good deal. Thank you, Anglo.
You too can be like Anglo-Saxon. All right.
What I love
God, what were you going to say?
Yeah. What I love about Harry Enten, when he talks about something being high, he's just so demonstrative. He runs his hand all up, and then when you say, "Oh, but this is so low," and he's like touching the ground with his hand.
I know. He's amazing.
He's
Strange that the number is 86. We all know what that means.
That's interesting too.
What number? What do you mean?
Oh, 86% approval.
Oh.
86% approval. Yeah, 86 is a.
Yeah, he is not always, Linda. Sometimes he's quite depressed. I read. Yeah. Okay. I can't say we're not allowed to say that that word.
You know what 86 is a euphemism for?
Yeah, it's killing.
Keep
something.
sixing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, 86 keys on the piano. Drop a piano on somebody. Yeah.
Trip to the Nevada desert.
Still not on the gallows, along with all of Jeffrey Epstein's friends and billions thrown into holy war for Israel. Oh, there we go. Comes back to Israel. All right, fine.
Listen, I'm on the edge of my seat, still waiting for some of these people to be measured for orange jumpsuits.
I know, and it may never happen, but you know what? It's fun to speculate. It's always good for us.
Hey, listen, I'd be satisfied if they just lost their jobs and their status.
Well, yeah. Nobody should ever hire their asses again. Let's go down to this one. 1.3 this is America First report. 1.3 million Californians just forced a voter ID fight, and Gavin Newsom can't stop it. Yep. Something remarkable happened. Look at this. That's a great AI picture. Something remarkable happened in California this week, and it deserves more attention than it has gotten. A grassroots petition effort to require voter identification in the nation's most populous state didn't just limp past its legal threshold, it blew past it. Reform California submitted more than 1.3 million signatures to county. Now, how much you want to bet the Democrats are going to go, Your Honor, we have to have like 6 to 9 months to be able to verify all 1.3 million, right? So Reform California submitted more than 1.3 million signatures to county officials, nearly 50% above the 875,000 required to qualify the California Voter ID Initiative for the November 26th ballot. It's this year, guys. In a state where Democrats hold a legislative supermajority, are there any Republicans? And have spent years insulating their election policies from voter scrutiny. This is not a minor development. Yeah, think about this, guys. The people on a ballot initiative voted, we don't trust Gavin Newsom or the legislature for doing redistricting. We don't trust them. And so, therefore, we want to create a commission. All right. So legally, they have a commission that does the redistricting when they say it's okay. So what happens? If you remember, Texas recently, over the last year, said, yeah, we're going to redistrict and we're going to gain 5 seats. Gavin comes out and says, well, then we're going to redistrict here and level those out. We're going to get 5 new seats, take away from Republicans. Okay. So the fact of the matter is that they couldn't do it because he went to the board, to that panel that was created, and they were like, up yours. We're not doing this.
Well, didn't they have, wasn't
so wait a minute. So what did he do? He fucking sues them. He takes them to court. So in other words, the people less than a year prior said, we don't trust you, Gavin. We want to have an independent organization that's going to decide when to do these things. And yet, because they don't trust the legislature either, all right? Because they're all lib nuts, right? And so the first chance he get, he talks about Donald Trump's trying to destroy our democracy. He freaking sued the commission that the people, democracy, that the people voted to create. And he wanted to sue them to say, no, you can't do that. What the hell? It's just a law. I got to save the country. What were you going to say?
Yeah. Didn't they actually have a vote on that and he lost?
I don't know if he lost that. I don't know what's going on, but I know that I don't think they're redistricted. Is Bobbity here? Call on Bobbity.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember, because I thought there was some sort of a vote, because they had God, my memory's going. I thought they might have had some sort of vote that on the voter ID thing. Oh no, on the he tried to kind of bypass the election commission, and I thought they might have had a vote.
Well, that's
on
what
it.
I just talked about. He tried to go around it, and then he sued them.
What you just said, but I thought they had a vote on it. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
Well, they did, and he lost.
Yeah, that's my
recollection. But I think there was some point where he said, "I'm going to do it anyway." That's like what Obama did.
Yeah,
Obama literally came out during a State of the Union, his first one, and said, "I went to the Congress and I asked them to create a panel so that we could cut deficit spending, and they said no, and so I'm going to create it myself." What? You're going to what? So he used an executive order, right? The reason that the Congress didn't want to give that to him is because, rightfully so, the Constitution gives the power to coin money and to deal with budgets to the House of Representatives. All legislative bills for raising money must begin in the House. All right? It says it right there. And he wanted them to give him that power. And they said no. So he said, fuck you. Then I'm going to do it myself. That's what he said to them.
Is that kind of like Joe Biden saying...
He should have been impeached. Yeah, it is.
Joe Biden saying the Supreme Court tried to stop me, but I'm going to do it anyway.
I'm going to buy those votes with forgiving those student loans and screw all the rest of you because you're going to pay for it. That's what they're doing. All right, so let me back to this. So let's see. If the initiative, if passed by voters, would amend the California state constitution directly, bypassing the very legislative supermajority that has blocked every previous attempt at common sense election reform. It would require voters to present identification when casting a ballot, compel election officials, do you think they're going to follow it, to verify the citizenship of registered voters and mandate that the state maintain accurate, up-to-date voter rolls. Now, who's going to enforce that? The Democrats? The state troopers who answer to the governor and the administration? No, not at all. So I wouldn't hold out anything. These are not radical demands. They're standard practices in dozens of countries around the world, including many that progressive activists routinely hold up as models of healthy democracy. State Assembly member Carl DeMaio, a Republican who chairs Reform California, has been emphatic that this is not a partisan crusade. His group says nearly half of the 1.35 million signatures came from Democrats and independents, representing all 58 of California's counties. Polling overwhelmingly shows a supermajority consensus for voter ID requirements. It's true. The reason why they're so against it, because they'll never win another election again, because it used to be a red state. Reagan won it twice. Okay, as governor. And then when he was president, he won it as president. When he was president, he did that deal where the Democrats lied their asses off to him. You give us amnesty for the amount of people that are here already, and we will give you money for Border Patrol. And what was the other thing? It was Border Patrol and E-Verify, so that employers can't hire illegals. All right, so he said, okay, and he signed the bill, he gave them the amnesty, and they said, go fuck a rock. We're not going to give you what we said we would. Screw you. And what was he supposed to do? They didn't appropriate the money. And so overnight, most of them were in California. Overnight, California became a one-party state because of that. And they've had the power ever since. So we know. We don't have to read anymore. We know what's up with that.
Yeah, you know, in Afghanistan, when they run a vote, you know what you do when you go in to vote, and they have an ink pot, and you dip the tip of your index finger in this kind of indelible ink that lasts for several days.
What's up, Colin?
They know you can't go somewhere else and vote. Even Afghanistan has voter ID.
Oh, yeah, yeah. We, the people, should enforce it using our Second Amendment. Yeah, you know what? A lot of people are saying that now, which is why they always want to take away the Second Amendment. Yeah, it's crazy how the Democrats, every excuse, well, first of all, black people are too stupid to get an ID. That's what they're telling you. They're not using the word stupid. They're saying, you know, a lot of minorities, they can't get their hands on an ID. I watch people do YouTube videos and Rumble videos walking around town going up to black people. Do you have ID? Well, yeah. Why? Well, I don't know. Democrats are saying that you don't know how to get an ID. What? I have a driver's license. I got a work ID. I got a social security card. What are you talking about? It's because they want to cheat. There's no other. That's why they're against the SAVE Act. They want to cheat. There's no other answer to it. They want to cheat. Let's go to the next one. Let's see. Here we go. This is great. Global warming, go to hell. New study, ice core data shows modern warming is statistically unremarkable. A new analysis finds today's rate of warming has precedent. Lots of it. So here we go. Let's increase it. There is nothing unprecedented or even significant about modern warming magnitudes or rates. Antarctic ice cores are routinely used to represent not only global scale CO2 records, but also global temperature records over the last 800,000 years. Interestingly, if we compare modern Antarctica to Paleo Antarctica, we learn no continent scale warming of Antarctic temperature is evident in the last century. Let me repeat that. No continent scale warming of Antarctic temperature is evident in the last century. A new statistical probability analysis using Vostok temperature data indicates the reported 1.1 Celsius global warming over the last century since the 1920s is not even unusual within the context of the last 20,000 years, as 16% of the centuries since the end of the last ice age show a rise at least as big as 1.1% or degrees Celsius as the current century. Current warming rates are quite commonplace, this calls into question the push to attribute temperature changes to human activity, because they're full of crap. What was it called? The group of Rome, or the something of Rome. It was a UN group that was created, and they wanted to find a way. They were a bunch of communists, a bunch of Marxists, and they wanted to find a way to get humans in different countries, especially the United States and Europe, in the West. They wanted to find something that they could force them to do to save the planet and blame it on the people, so that they go, oh, geez, I'm doing it. Oh, my God, I'll pay. Yeah. So they would, increase taxes, pay fees for certain things. And global warming was it. And it's all horse shit. All of it.
Or maybe more appropriately, cow shit, because one of the things they do, they take satellite infrared photos, and they take a look at like the grazing areas where there's cattle, and it's warmer, and they say cow farts. Yeah, no.
Well, so remember in the Green New Deal,
the Green New Scam, you mean?
Yeah, AOC, the Council of Rome. I can't remember. It was there's a British Dr. Vernon Cole. He's written like 30 some books, and one of them was what was it? End Game. I think it was called End Game. Look it up. It's like $1.99 in Kindle on Amazon. It was like End Game. Hey Charlie, how you doing? Good to see you. It was called End Game, and he talks about how the something of Rome. I'm sorry, it escapes me, but it was a Marxist group that wanted to. And the thing that they started off with, it was an experiment. You're not going to believe this one. There was an experiment that they wanted to do to get people to voluntarily do something. And then years later, we're going to say, you don't have to do it anymore, just to see if they would still do it because they believe it was helping the environment. And you know what that was? Council of Nicaea. Now, do you know what that was? It was recycling. It was actually recycling. What they wanted to do is they wanted to see, can we get people to split their garbage up? Who wants to touch their garbage? We're going to get them to split. They never had to do it. Okay, it was an experiment. The commies wanted, and they did it through the UN, and then all your respective countries said, oh, yeah, it's a good idea. It'll save the planet, you know? And so they did all this recycling BS, and then some countries, years later, they said, you know what? You don't have to recycle anymore. But the people continued to do it because they thought it was the right thing to do. They were conditioned. Yeah, and that's what they're doing. What's up, 40? Hey, guys, if you're here and you're not a regular, 42 is a modern-day poet. Please check him out. He's a guy that he gives excellent history lessons of what's going on in the UK. And if you like that stuff, which I do, I love it every single time I'm there. I may not be there tomorrow, but I try to get there every single Saturday night. He does a stream every Saturday night, and it would be 5:30 Eastern time every single time. So do me a favor, give him a like. Check him out and sub him because he's really good, and you will not regret it.
You know, I've done a bit of looking
exactly.
into, well, I don't know if I agree with all that. I've done a bit of looking into it. They tell me that metal and paper recycles well. Everything else.
Yeah, but they didn't have to. In other words, they didn't have to split it up. They already had technology where they could split the food from the actual trash and plastic and all that crap. They actually had that already. And believe it or not, and most places did. Like, you know, your Zimbabwe and Kenya. No, they didn't. Oh, brother. Yeah.
Yeah. Plastic recycling is not, unless you really go into it where, you know, they got these shoe companies that say they make their shoes out of, you know, recycled pop bottles.
Right.
Plastic recycling is pretty much.
What do you say at the top of the hour? We're going to do our new segment that we got. It's called Progressive Zen. I think you guys will like it, and then we're going to change it up every single week. But we'll do that at the top of the hour.
And
let's see.
You know, global warming. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Right. Plastic, glass, metal, and paper.
Right.
Those could be recycled.
No. Exactly.
Plastic's pretty much a tough thing.
It was like once oil and not anymore.
Unless you're one of the, I mean, I've seen shoe companies that they swear they actually take shredded pop bottles to make their shoes. God knows. But, you know, with global warming, I can give you a 30-second synopsis.
Sure.
The world has been both much warmer and much colder than it is today in the history of the world. And that's a fact. That's not debatable. And the fact is, we've also, as a species, contributed to warming. The question is not, have we contributed? The question is, how significant is it? And the fact is, it's probably, I don't know about trivial, but pretty close. Because the world is going to do what the world is going to do. Right. And the heat in this world is due to our star, Sol, our sun. That's where it comes from. That's all I got to say.
Okay, guys, it's called the Club of Rome. Let's see. I think I can do this. Yeah. All right, cool. The book, I'm going to bring it up real quick. I want to share this with you guys because you might.
This isn't going to get you a strike, is it?
No, not at all. Not at all. So it's called Endgame, The Hidden Agenda 21. Okay. He wrote this a few years back, but he writes, the next big step forward was the formation of the Club of Rome in 1968. Today, the Club of Rome consists, among others, a variety of UN administrators, top politicians, rich businessmen, get that out of there, and government officials. I'll come back to the Club of Rome in a minute, but he goes on, the Club of Rome was the one that started coming up with global warming stuff. Yeah, this guy's name is Dr. Vernon Cole. You might want to check him out. He writes really, really good books. He gives you all the, he does like top research. He's a British guy, and I really, really like him. I've got like 5 of his books.
Yeah, and don't believe the Green New Scam.
Right, exactly. All right, back to the show. Let's see. All right, here we go. This is good. Tina Peters.
Oh, Tina Peters.
Yeah, governor. Now this governor, what he says, I got to give him props. He's a Dem. I hear he's a radical lunatic, but here we go. All right, ready? Now, if for you guys that don't know, Tina Peters tried to wanted to go for election integrity after the 2020 election, and the left, along with the government, the federal government, she got 9 years in prison. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the election interference she did was she got her hands on one of the Dominion machines, and she opened it up and looked inside to see how they were cheating.
Well,
And
here's
that was
what
one of the things she did.
Here's what I understand.
Make it fast.
After the votes were counted, okay,
Right.
not in a position to change them, she downloaded some files and contacted some security people, tech security people, and gave them the files. So she was convicted of allowing somebody else to have access to these. Ball of fire and sky temperature. I'm shocked. She was convicted of allowing somebody to have access to these voter files. Now, what's interesting, separately but related.
Hurry up.
Jenna Griswold, our Secretary of State, was charged with the same thing because before the election.
Right. Let me read it because the story's in this story.
Okay.
That part is in it. Okay. So let me see. Do we have it up? Yeah, I do. Let me bring it up. Okay. So guys, she got 9 years in prison for doing really not that much wrong. All right.
She's a whistleblower.
Right. Colorado Governor Jared Polis. All right. Intends to review Tina Peters' clemency case, sparking controversy among state leaders. We still have to show that January 6th was the worst attack on our capital since the War of 1812. Forget that there were bombs set off in the 1950s and 60s outside the Senate chamber. Forget there were Puerto Rican terrorists from the FALN that were in the balcony of the House of Representatives shooting down on people, hit a congressman. Well, I forget all that, right? All right. I digress. Colorado Governor Jared Polis said in a tweet on Tuesday night that he intends to review the clemency case for Tina Peters, 70-year-old former Mesa County clerk who was convicted of multiple charges related to election interference in the 2020 presidential election. This is the part that pisses me off to no end. They fucking cheated. They cheated. They know they cheated. They know we know they cheated, but they gave this 70-year-old woman 9 years in prison for trying to prove they cheated. Peters' case, in which she was sentenced to 9 years in prison in 2024, has gained national attention, including from President Trump and many of his supporters. See, it's a state charge, so Trump can't pardon her, with many of Peters' supporters arguing her sentence was too harsh. Now, let's get down to what the governor says. Here's what he says. You ready? It's not lost on me that she was convicted of the exact same felony charge as Tina Peters, right? Attempting to influence. He's talking about the former state senator, Sonia Yaquez, Lewis, a Democrat who was convicted in January of 4 felony charges, attempted to influence a public figure and 3 counts of forgery, and sentenced on Tuesday to 2 years of probation and 150 hours of community service. So the governor says, it is not lost on me that she was convicted of the exact same felony charge as Tina Peters, attempted to influence a public official. And yet Tina Peters, as a nonviolent first-time offender, that's the phrase and the clause that the libnuts use every time they want to let someone off the hook, a murderer, a rapist. Is a nonviolent first-time offender, right? Got a 9-year sentence, he said. So he writes, this is the part that got me because he's a Democrat. Justice in Colorado and America needs to be applied evenly. You never know when you might need to depend on the rule of law. This is the context I am using as I consider cases like this that have sentencing disparities, which is why I have extended the deadline for clemency applications until April 3rd. How about that? Democrat governor.
I think it's great.
That's remarkable, guys.
I think that's wonderful.
I think it is remarkable. It's wonderful.
And somebody went and polled all of the legislature in California and Colorado, and every Democrat said, no, he shouldn't give her clemency. And
That's crazy.
what I was talking about is Jenna Griswold. That wasn't in that story.
Right.
But Jenna Griswold, the Secretary of State, before the election was counted, she released the codes to the Dominion machine to 69 county officials.
Right.
And basically, that's the same exact thing that they accused Tina Peters of. But that was before the counting. Tina Peters did it after the count. You know what Jenna Griswold was held to?
What?
Oops, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That was it.
Well, it's a Democrat. You know, it's different when they do it.
I've heard that somewhere.
Yeah, I know. It's your favorite line. That's why I used it. All right, here we go. Just the news. Inspection. We have a problem. I don't know if you guys do across the pond, but we have a problem with Democrats having friends, donors, that were creating these schools or buying the schools to give CDLs, to train people for CDLs, bringing in illegals for the most part, bringing them into the country, getting them into these schools, and getting them CDL licenses, putting them on the road, and they're causing all kinds of havoc because they can't read English signs. So inspection of truck drivers in one state nabbed more than 600 drivers who couldn't speak English. As the U.S. Department of Transportation cracks down on schools that crank out commercial driver's licenses and requires tests to be conducted in English. And the Dems are like, oh, it's racist. Well, we don't have 37 different signs for all the languages of the people that are coming here.
Rich, correct me if I'm wrong. We still do not have an actual official legally
language. Right, but everybody knows English is it. Now, how
English
do we know
is
that?
our language.
Do you know that English is the language that I think worldwide, with the exception of a few countries, that their air traffic controllers must know in order to be an air traffic controller?
Yeah, there's
You
two.
have to speak English.
There's two. North
Yeah.
Korea.
And what, China or
Russia.
No, China. Russia?
Russia.
Yeah. And the reason why is because the United States, when all this shit started, was we were trading everywhere, and you had to know English if you had American planes. We had more planes than anybody
Now,
at the time.
If you go into Hong Kong, you're going to hear a lot of chatter in Chinese, which is kind of a little distressing. But there's a third place as well, Quebec. The official language.
Well, that's because you can't.
They
get
talk to
anything
you
in
first
those
in
people.
French.
Oh, yeah,
By
I
the
know.
way, did you see? I think it was Louis. Did you recognize
Louis
him
French,
through
by
your
the way.
super
But
chats?
go ahead. What?
Or in the super chats, did you recognize him?
Oh no! Oh geez, I didn't even say it. Louis, God bless you, brother. God bless. I got to come down and we got to hang, man. Hit me up. Let me know when you're free. It's been a while.
Thank you, Louis.
Thank you, Louis. I really appreciate it, man. Cool. You too can be like Anglo and Louis. My brother always says, and you too can be. Yeah. All right. So what's the next one? Are we on? Oh, yeah. The inspection. Okay. Sorry. High profile fatal accidents on America's highways involving semi-truck drivers with limited proficiency in English have led to a nationwide effort to crack down on the issuing of commercial driver's license CDLs to such drivers. Statistics that the Wyoming Highway Patrol released last week show how widespread the problem is. Now, Wyoming, guys, they have illegals up there that can't speak in Wyoming. Out of 16,676 inspections on commercial vehicles in 2025, 676 of them resulted in violations where drivers failed the interview because they weren't proficient in English. This was the 8th most frequent violation Wyoming officials cited for drivers for, and these are the numbers for just one state. Recently, the Laramie County Sheriff's Office in southern Wyoming, Cowboy State Daily reported, had a 3-day operation in which 82 commercial trucks were stopped and 32 illegal immigrants were arrested.
Yeah, these are not necessarily from Wyoming, though. These are big rigs.
No,
traveling.
India is the most. They're coming from India most in California, and I think who's our treasury or our transportation? Is it Lee Zeldin? I think. Well, either or. He revoked 15,000 CDL licenses from California, because Gavin Newsom was just having people rubber stamp them, because they're making. I want someone to do a study, an investigation on how many kickbacks the Democrats in California got for that scam on the CDLs.
Yeah, they're finding them in Wyoming because Wyoming is cooperating and looking for them.
Right.
These
Yeah,
drivers,
exactly.
These
That is
drivers are
exactly
not
right.
from Wyoming.
That is exactly right. Let me see something. Yeah, here's one. Somebody sent it to me. Let me see. This is Charlie Kirk on Iran. Here we go. Let's hit this up.
How much do you actually know about Iran? Persia was a great power, and then Iran took a turn for the worst. Interestingly enough, there was the Shah of Iran, and then the Shah was displaced by Mossadegh. Mossadegh was democratically elected. Now, to be very fair, the United States and Britain got rid of Mossadegh, and then we reinstalled the Shah. Bad decision, which then led to the Iranian Revolution, where radical Islam took over Iran. Look at some of these pictures of what Iran used to be. It was wealthy, it was proud, it was strong. The Persians are wonderful people. Some of my closest friends are Persians, and I love the Persian people. And we should have a heart for the Persian people to try and have a better future. Regime change is very difficult to talk about. I actually don't like talking about regime change. It's very complicated, but understand that there can be brighter days ahead for the Iranian people. And just look at some of these pictures of how beautiful Iran used to be, how beautiful Tehran used to be. And
when they polled them in the 50s and 60s, they said they would ask Iranians, who do you most want to be like? They all said United States, Americans. We want to be more like Americans.
It's very easy to kind of sit in your Western armchair and be like, oh, yeah, Israel's terrible. Well, you were able to enjoy free speech rights and a lot of rights here in the West that Iran used to have.
Right.
And
they
if
don't
you
now.
Are serious about actually protecting human rights, you should want to make Iran Western again.
That's right. That is absolutely right. And you know where they got the name Iran? You guys know, right? Oh, HMU. What do you mean HMU? What does that mean? A concert? Okay, next week. I'll talk to you after the show if you're around. If you're not out, Iran means Aryan in Farsi, and it was an ambassador to it was a German ambassador who told the Grand Mufti. He told him or the Grand Mufti on what you call it from Iran, and he said he was in Iraq, but he was in for Iran, and he said that if they're serious, you should change the name to Iran because it means Aryan in Farsi. And the Iranians, the Persians, they had offered, I think it was an entire battalion of soldiers to fight with the Nazis, and they did. They fought with them, and so Iran was born of the Aryan race, and we're and the people there. Look, the people there are awesome. They really are. It's their leadership and the people that serve the leadership that are scumbags that need to go. But the Iranian people, man, they want, especially the young people, and that's their largest demographic right now is their young people. They got a lot of young people that want freedom. They want it bad.
So, my understanding, I've spoken to a number of Iranians. Persians consider themselves not Arabs. They are definitely not Arabs in their own mind. They are from European stock. They definitely do not consider themselves to be Arabs.
Okay, cool. Let's see, what's the next? To do diplomatic reset in Venezuela is official. Let's go. Here we go. PJ Media. Sarah Anderson. So, well, we have more exciting news out of Venezuela. The State Department just announced we have officially reestablished a diplomatic relationship with the South American country. Here's the statement. The United States and Venezuela's interim authorities, which I think was their vice president, and she's a commie, have agreed to reestablish diplomatic and consular relations. This step will facilitate our joint efforts to promote stability, support economic recovery, and advance political reconciliation in Venezuela. Our engagement is focused on helping the Venezuelan people move forward through a phased process that creates the conditions for a peaceful transition to a democratically elected government. The United States remains committed to supporting the Venezuelan people and working with partners across the region to advance stability and prosperity. Here's the thing that gets me, guys. The Democrats have bitched and griped about what Trump did in Venezuela. They bitched and griped about Iran. But watch the people in Venezuela who were jumping up and down, cheering Trump for freeing them, right, from Maduro's reign. And in Iran, the women, guys, there's 45.2 million women in Iran that are now free. I mean, when this whole thing's over, they're free. Jimmy from Philly is in the house. What's up, bro? What's going on, man? Yeah, I mean, I think it's 45.2 million Iranian women are now free. They don't have to wear that freakish bed sheet on them, right? They can literally start. I mean, eventually, when all this is worked out, right, and we leave, because there's not going to be boots on the ground. I don't think there will be, and there's not. They're going to try to do another Iraq, where the insurgents are going to cause so many problems, but I think Trump will have them out. He'll have them handled out, and he's killing them every day. So
you know who might be the boots on the ground though is Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, they might be. You know what?
They've said something.
You're right. I think you're right.
Said it. And Qatar or Qatar.
Yeah, well, they're already bombing them with missiles.
Yeah. So yeah, I think between Saudi and Qatar or Qatar,
Right.
I always called it Qatar. And
yeah, well, it actually, I heard a guy say that the sound that it makes is not something that Westerners are used to making.
Can easily hear, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get back to this. So that means we're officially reopening our embassy there. That's been in the works for a while, overseen by Charles d'Affaires, whatever, right?
Charles d'Affaires.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care. Citizens will have access to consular services, and it will help reduce political and legal risks for companies that want to invest in Venezuela. Dear Mr. President, I totally volunteer to handle public affairs or something. Just put it out there. We don't need to hear anymore. So they're trying to get Venezuelan people to actually take over. And they're trying to do the same thing with Iran, but I don't think the people there are ready yet to tell the people that are hiding and taking pop shots still, get the hell out.
I heard there was I can't remember who it was, but there was some guy from the media. He said he was at like the biggest hotel in Caracas, and
right. He
said the last time I was here, the lobby, there were a bunch of soldiers and hardly any other people. This time I'm there. I'm in the lobby. There's politicians. There's dozens of businessmen. There's, it was just filled with life, real life.
Right. All right. I think it's time. We're gonna install this new segment that I'm gonna try to bring you every week with something different, but it's called Progressive Zen. All right. Here we go.
Welcome to another Progressive Zen moment of the day, where you can practice your breathing to bring calm and peace to your life.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Things keep happening. I wake up. Oh my God. I wake up every day and it's like one thing after another, after another, after another. And it's never ending. It's never. And as there's just the seconds are going to go by, there's seconds and then there's minutes and then there's hours and then there's days and then there's weeks and then there's months and years and lifetimes. And if reincarnation is real, let me off the ride. I don't want to do it. Unlatch the fucking seatbelt. Unlatch the seatbelt like this. And let me off!
This has been Progressive Zen, enhancing peace around the world.
All right. So every week we're going to try to bring you a new libnut who is freaking out into a camera and had the stupidity to post it online. All right.
Is that a tweaker? That looked like a tweaker to me.
What's a tweaker?
Tweaker, meth head.
No. She's just a progressive libnut.
Yeah. Could be a tweaker, either one. Sometimes they're both.
You're right, Linda. Yeah. Pornhub for her. Yeah. Cut Cutter sounds like guitar. Getter. Yeah, it's definitely cutter. I can't even pronounce it. Man.
In Arabic, you always sound like you're
Privileged
barking
brat.
something.
I know, man. Yeah, it made me happy too making it. Trust me. So now I actually have a video set up, a template that I could just plug in this week's liberal meltdown. The nose ring is really unbecoming. They don't get that. They really don't.
No, they really don't.
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah, Arabic always sounds like you're like coughing something, horking something up, you know?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Louis had a Jewish friend one time, and he went up and he went, Happy Hanukkah. And the guy said back to Merry Christmas. All right. So let's see. What are we doing? We got to pick another one. All right. Let's see. Cutter Carlson. Yeah. What's going on with Tucker Carlson? Whoa. He's saying some pretty outrageous things, but I don't know, man. He said some really, we'll get into it later.
He's gotten weird.
Yeah. I love the guy. I always did. But, and I have an account on his website, but
it's like he's smoking. Okay. He's smoking something different these days.
This is Slay News. Fetterman, Democrats are too afraid to agree with Trump on anything. He's right. And who are they afraid of? The radical left in their party. But that's what you get when you start treating your people like let's think about it, guys. For 100 years, they told black Americans, oh, here, the Republicans hate your guts. Yeah, the only ones that ended slavery, right? But and gave you rights and all that, while they fought diligently against it, right? But they're, they hate you. They're racist and all that shit, right? And that we'll do things for you, and they never did anything for them. So they finally figure it out, and they're leaving in droves. And the way to get their numbers back up is they reach out to the progressives, to the radical lunatic lefties. And now they're stuck with them. So he's right. So here we go. Senator John Fetterman said Wednesday that many Democrats oppose President Donald Trump on major national security issues simply because they fear being seen agreeing with him. Now, what do we call that? 3 letters. What do we call that, Jade?
Oh, TDS.
There you go. It's all TDS. Fetterman made the remarks during an appearance on Fox News' Jesse Waters Primetime, where he discussed the recent U.S. strikes against Iran. I think there's a video. Let's get to a video. Is there a video? I think there's a video. Yeah, there is. Here we go. Let's play the video.
Why are Democrats running out of the briefing and screaming that this is a forever war and it's only Wednesday?
Yeah, well, I mean, I just wanted to say that I watched like the highlights that you showed, especially the ship getting blown out of the water. Now, I remember the Iranian generals were saying that our ships were going to end at the bottom of the ocean, and that's theirs. Like, look at that again. It's on the screen right now. Boom. Like I love
He's like, boom.
So I don't know why we can't be on and just celebrate that. But I guarantee you, every single member of the Congress that you just had there said we can never allow Iran to acquire a nuclear bomb. And now that that's happened now, and now it's made that impossible right now. And then we all agree. They all now say, well, we won't grieve, that the Ayatollah is gone. So, when someone did that and made sure that possible, why can't we as a Democrat just say, hey, I think that's a good thing. I think that the world's safer. I think it's more just. And then I do think we have a possible path for real, true, enduring peace in the region.
Hopefully.
I will say that. I will acknowledge that, because why they can't, because they've seen that too. And they all know that we can never allow them to have a nuclear bomb, and that it's better that he's been killed. But, because as a Democrat, they're afraid to just agree with Trump on anything at this point. And now, hey, I'm going to agree with it. I'm always going to pick my country over my party.
You got to love this guy. And, I heard a woman who was one of the party people up in Montgomery County where I live. And she was talking about, she knew him. He's way upstate, but she knew him. And she said, this is like when John Fetterman started, like Jade always says, and she's right, the more he recovers from his brain, his stroke, right? The more he recovers, the more conservative he gets. And she said, somebody said something like that to her on the air. And she said, no, she goes, I've known him for about 20 years. This is the real John Fetterman. That he's not a whack job progressive. That he's not. He's old school Democrat, which I can live with, because the old school Democrats, okay, and the Republicans, we could get along because we have the same goals. Hey, what's up, Bobbity? Good to see you, man. I was hoping you'd be here. Let's see. Democratic Party 1 week away from building a nuke. Mr. President, the time is now. How are you? We're good, man. How are you? I hope you're good. Yeah, but it turns out that he's from old school Democrat, which I said we could all get along because we have the same goals. We just differ about how we get there. The progressives are just the fucking lunatics in the picture. You know, while we're talking about, yeah, we both want clean air and water and stuff like that. You know, we want the military to defend us. We just differ about, you know, Democrats favor government solutions. We favor capitalism, but we want the same goal. We can get along. Progressives, they want boys in women's bathrooms.
Yeah, no, progressives, they go to Munich and rip the president in the country.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Acknowledge when good things happen.
Look at this.
Now, we've also forget, you know, that, you know, really the Democratic Party
I love that. He was a U.S. Senator. He goes, look at that. Boom.
since 10-7 has been absolutely wrong about the dynamic.
I won't vote for him because he's a Democrat. I'll tell you this, though. If they put up a rhino, and I know that we already have a ton of that we have like more than we need to maintain, I would vote for him over a rhino.
Yeah,
but for the number, for the majority, if it's close, no way. I will never vote for a Democrat. But
yeah, if
he may switch.
If they put up a bad rhino, he would definitely be, you know, better than that.
Thank you, Lou. Yeah, guys, if you get that like button, if I could say it, if you could hit the like button, thank you very much, because it does help us. More people get to see the video. In fact, I'm going to hit the like button, and I'm not too proud to do that either. All right, let's see.
I already did it.
All right, so we got 16. Cool, man. Cool. So let's see, what else are we going to do? Oh, we got a song too. This is
and I got a moment.
Yeah, we'll do that right after the song. The song is like 3 minutes long. It's Lee Greenwood, you know, proud to be, and he has another song, and I'm hearing it's pretty good. So let's bring that up. Here we go. Let's do it. Very pro-American. That's why I like country.
If tomorrow all the things
Hope I don't get dinged.
I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife.
Yeah, it's the same song. I'll get dinged if I play it, so I'm not gonna play it. I thought it was a new song. Sorry, guys. Let me. Do you have a moment? Do you want to do a moment? Do you want to wait? Do you want to do it now?
No, I'll bring up my screen.
Oh, okay. Hang on.
It's a Dr. Jade moment.
The floor is yours.
Okay, so Rich, you're a bit of a history guy, so I'm pretty sure you'll get this, and some other people might too. Those of us from across the pond, and I apologize for any inferences to the British. We love you guys. This has to do with a few of your governments that we haven't cared for.
Just like you don't like our government sometimes. Yeah. But go ahead.
So this is an engraving by a man by the name of, well, let me get back to that. This is an engraving from 256 years ago yesterday. I was a day late, not a dollar short though. I was a day late. This is an anniversary from yesterday, March 5th, 1770. The engraving is by a man by the name of Paul Revere. Okay. And in Britain, it's known as the incident on King Street. It started when, well, Britain went through the 7 Years' War, which was very costly, and then the Indian Wars, and that was very hard on the treasury in Britain. And they established the Townshend Acts, which were many taxes upon things, especially tea. I'm getting very close to spilling the beans. And when the people of what was Massachusetts Bay Colony were occupied by British soldiers, I believe there were 16,000 occupants of the town at that point, and they put 2,000 soldiers in there. That's one for every 8 resident.
Wow.
And it came to a head when the redcoats and the colonists kind of came face to face, and there was a lot of yelling, and then there was some throwing of snowballs and other things.
Right.
And
poo.
What's that?
Poo. Thank you, Anglo.
And
thanks, brother. Appreciate it, man.
And then all of a sudden, there were some stones and clubs were involved. And at one point, one of the soldiers fired, followed by all of the rest of the soldiers firing.
Oh.
And 3 people died, 8 were wounded.
I remember the story.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, yes.
2 of whom later died. And there was an inquiry and a trial for these. Okay, now, a truth in advertising here. This is a great picture, great engraving. However, this looks much more organized than it was. I guess it was a total cluster.
Yeah.
Total cluster fumble, and everybody's milling around. This looks more like an execution squad, and it wasn't. It was a bunch of guys milling around, and nobody knew what was happening. Black powder muskets, you get a whole cloud. You suddenly can't see anything. Other guys started firing. 3 people died, 8 were wounded, 2 later died of their injuries. There was an inquiry by the governor at the time, the acting governor, Thomas Hutchison, and they went to court. And guess who? Do you know, Rich? Do you know who defended?
Yes, I know who.
Soldiers?
I know who. You're talking the lawyer that represented the
lawyer that represented the soldiers. His name was John Adams.
John Adams,
and
our 2nd president of the United States. Yes,
and this was known
as
the
won.
incident on King Street. In the United States, it's known as the Boston Massacre.
Right.
Some might say it started the rebellion. And it was followed. Afterwards. Then there were a few years of rumblings, and then of course, December 16th, 1773, just over 3 years later, a bunch of colonists dressed up as Native Americans, and we had what we call here the Boston Tea Party.
Yep.
Yes, 40. It was rocks and bottles and clubs, and it was a complete mess. Like I say, this engraving is very pretty, but it really doesn't show what happened. It shows 2 groups standing in front of each other.
I saw that, Ludwig. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was a total cluster fumble, and nobody could see anything. Nobody knew what was going on. 6 of the soldiers were convicted. The other 2, 6 of the soldiers were acquitted. The other 2 were convicted of manslaughter.
Right.
And the sentence at the time. Do you know this, Rich? This is great. Their sentence was to be branded on the thumb.
Yeah.
For manslaughter.
Yeah, a lot of people, a lot of colonists, I guess, they couldn't understand and hated him for Adams for doing it, but not enough because he became the 2nd president of the United States. So,
yeah, they obviously didn't hate him.
Right,
much.
A lot of people admired him because they're like, wait a minute, how could you do it? And it was like everybody. It was the promise of what they put forth in the Constitution, which was everybody deserves a defense. Everybody, no matter what, deserves a defense, unless, of course, you're an illegal alien who rapes little girls. then you deserve a baseball bat. But I'm just kidding. Fact checkers. I'm just making a joke. Just joking.
Just a story. So that.
Well, he lived in the north too. So
yeah. So that is a story of what happened 256 years ago yesterday.
Yep.
I thought you might enjoy a little.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Little historical tidbit. There's tons more on this. There's books written on it. Check your super chats.
Another one. Damn. Hold on.
Yeah, there was a lot of poking and hitting and swinging and clubs and.
So sorry, Rich. I thought it was Dave's for a moment. Okay, I was at Dave's for a moment. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man. You have no idea. Go ahead. Sorry. Yeah, I read it.
Yeah, there's tons. There's books written about this. There's tons and tons. Oh, and just as an aside, everybody knows that Paul Revere didn't and wouldn't have said the British are coming.
Right.
You know why?
Go ahead.
Because he considered himself British.
Right. Didn't he say the redcoats?
Everybody.
A lot of people say that he didn't even make the ride until after they came.
Yeah, everybody, the history is he said the British are coming, and it's been said so often that I think we've lost actually what he said.
Right.
But if he made the ride, he did not say the British are coming. I'll tell you that.
Good. Thank you for that.
So that's a little history lesson.
There we go.
It's a Dr. Jade moment.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you, Linda. Yeah, I like to find interesting little details that people either don't know about.
Industrial freezer and a wood chipper. I love it. I love it.
I agree.
Well, Your Honor, everybody has a wood chipper. Come on.
And if you don't like them, you feed them in feet first.
Right. Let's see. Here we go. Hillary Clinton. Here we go.
Hey, did you catch Anglo for his last?
What do you mean?
Because Anglo had another super chat.
Yeah. Did
you get that one? Okay.
Yeah. I read it.
No, before that.
Brother Ward Dave. I didn't know what he meant, so I just said thank you instead of reading it. But then he explained right here. Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Thank you, brother. Yeah, let me go back to the live. There you go. Oh, actually, I think he did say something about redcoats. Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought he said the redcoats are coming.
I think that's probably what people figure he said, but it's been so lost in history.
I know there's a lot of things that were
the British are coming. The British are coming has been so iconic for so long.
But the one if by land and two if by sea was accurate.
Yeah.
It was the lights. They had candles, and if there was one, they were coming by land. Two, they were coming by boats, and that was accurate. But let's get on with this. So, Hillary Clinton's team spent 7 hours engineering the perfect camera angle and lighting before her Epstein deposition. Can you believe this? Look at this. All right. Before Hillary Clinton answered a single question under oath about her connections to Jeffrey Epstein, her team had already spent considerable energy on a different priority, making sure she looked good on camera, and she didn't. They failed miserably. According to a source familiar with the setup, the pre-deposition preparations at the Chappaqua Performing Arts Center on February 26 involved a level of image management more fitting for a television production than a sworn congressional proceeding. I like to know how the hell they got the Congress to come to her. Like probably, I don't know if it was a Zoom or whatever. Right? The details, it wasn't a Zoom because she was at a table. I don't know how they did that, but the details first reported by the New York Post paint a telling picture. Clinton's team requested that the source described as beauty lighting from the venue. Did I read that? Clinton's team requested what the source described, beauty lighting from the venue. They repeatedly instructed that the camera be positioned to her left, which they considered her more flattering angle. So in other words, I'm going to be grilled about Jeffrey Epstein, but you guys are going to help me look good. Oh, please.
Question for you.
Yeah. What's that?
Question for you. If you got called to Congress, do you think you would get 7 hours?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
No.
When the existing lighting still casts unflattering shadows, white tablecloths were brought in and arranged to reflect the overhead stage lights and soften the effect on her face. Are you shitting me? The original black curtains were deemed unacceptable. They're unacceptable. The source says the team worried they made the setting look like a hostage situation. A custom blue paneled backdrop. I'm surprised they didn't get a fucking halo and put it over her head. A custom blue panel backdrop was ordered from a local vendor and produced in roughly 7 hours to replace them. Are you kidding me? Many of these same visual adjustments remained in place the following day for former President Bill Clinton's deposition. Whatever one makes of the underlying investigation, the staging operation raises an obvious question. Why does a witness summoned to give sworn testimony in a closed-door congressional deposition need a lighting crew? And do you know how much a lighting crew costs for what they're describing she had done? All that money that they stole and had illegally were bribed in the Clinton Foundation, that's a lot of money that they had to spend on that. The deposition was the culmination of weeks of legal and political maneuvering. The House Oversight Committee, chaired by Representative James Comer of Kentucky, subpoenaed both Clintons as part of its investigation into Jeffrey Epstein, the convicted sex offender who committed suicide in 2019 under circumstances still disputed by many.
Hey, Rich.
Yes.
Air quotes.
Yeah, I know. I did the wink instead. The Clintons initially declined to appear. And they wrote, well, you know, it was Hillary, wrote a nasty ass letter and throwing Trump in there and everything. I mean, what a jackass. The Clintons initially declined to appear after Republicans threatened to hold them in criminal contempt at Congress. Both agreed to sit for in-person closed-door depositions in their hometown, Chappaquiddick, New York. Each session lasted roughly 4.5 hours, with Hillary stretching past 6. She loves to hear herself talk. In her opening statement, which she posted publicly on X, Clinton declared that she had no idea about their criminal activities, referring to Epstein and his alleged co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell. I do not recall. How many times did she say, I do not recall, in testimony over the years? Like 800 times? I mean, I do not recall. That's a legal answer, by the way. That's a lawyer's answer. I don't recall. How are you going to prove in court that somebody lied when they say, I don't recall? Well, here's the evidence that you did. Oh, okay, I guess I did. Well, you committed No, I said I do not recall. You know, how do you prove they lied when they say, I don't remember, right?
I have no recollection of those events,
right.
Senator.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Ms. Lewinsky. I do not recall ever encountering Mr. Epstein. I flew on his plane or visited his island home or offices. Meanwhile, photos have since appeared of her with Epstein, the couples, they were together. She framed the subpoena as a politically motivated distraction, accusing Republicans of fishing expeditions designed to shield the Trump administration from scrutiny rather than conduct a genuine investigation. Let me tell you something. Donald Trump's all over the Epstein, but there's absolutely nothing, and I mean absolutely, and Bill Clinton in his testimony said there's absolutely nothing that I've ever heard anybody say anything bad about Donald Trump. That was Bill who said that during his testimony. Nothing at all. Never heard anything bad that Donald Trump did. And I heard a lot, you know, I bullshit, right? How old
and if she thinks these committee subpoenas are a joke, she should ask Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro.
Yeah, and Peter Navarro, right. Their session grew heated on multiple occasions. Nancy Mace pressed Clinton repeatedly about photographs showing Bill Clinton in a hot tub with women identified as connected to Epstein. Hillary Clinton declined to. Is that video here? Please tell me that video's here. Please tell me that video. It's not here. Son of a bit toenail. It's not here. All right. Well, let's get on with it. So Hillary Clinton declined to weigh in on the photo, saying she wasn't there to offer opinions. a response Mace publicly characterized as evasion. The former Secretary of State grew visibly irritated when Mace persisted, accusing her of relying on innuendo. Clinton was also asked about Pizzagate. You got to love it. The conspiracy theory, this is America first, she described as totally made up. The framing of that particular line of questioning drew pushback from Democrats on the committee. I watched it. It was great TV. Though its inclusion is consistent with the broader scope of the Epstein investigation, which has touched on questions about how Epstein cultivated influence, legitimate and otherwise, across political and social circles for years. The deposition's most dramatic moment came roughly an hour and 20 minutes in, when conservative influencer Benny Johnson posted photographs of Clinton taken inside the closed-door session on X by Congresswoman Lauren Boebert. Taking and distributing photographs during an ongoing deposition is a violation of House committee rules. Quote, "I am done with this," Clinton said, rising from the table. "If you guys are doing that, I am done. You can hold me in contempt from now until the cows come home. This is just typical behavior." Her attorney informed the committee they found the breach unacceptable, unprofessional, and unfair. Particularly, yeah, she got 4 people killed in Benghazi, and then said, "What difference does it make anyway?" And yet she's bitching about photographs being taken.
And they've been so fair to Trump.
Right, exactly. Particularly given that the Clintons had requested a public hearing from the beginning. Boebert, asked about the incident later by reporters, responded simply, "Why not?" she added. "Benny did nothing wrong." After a brief recess, Clinton returned and completed the session. The photo incident provided Clinton with a clean and sympathetic grievance, and she used it. Emerging from the Performing Arts Center afterwards, she told reporters she had hoped the proceedings would be public so the American people could judge for themselves. Quote, "It was disappointing." What is this? "It was disappointing that they..." All right, I'll do it. "It was disappointing that they refused to hold a public hearing so I wouldn't have to be out here characterizing it for you. You could have seen it for yourself." She called the questioning repetitive and said she had no intention of appearing before the committee again under any circumstances. Good, and then we'll throw your ass in jail.
I would love to see that.
Oh, I would love to see that too.
Good Lord. I don't know. I think the Clintons are passé now.
Yeah. People are
people don't care about them anymore.
Kill dog. Yeah.
I mean, they should still.
Yeah,
they should still bring them up in front of the committee, and they should still be charged with every available crime.
Right. Ludwig says if there was an ounce of justice, there wouldn't be a single redaction, and these freaks would rot in jail. Absolutely, I agree. And now she wore a blue pantsuit, my evil witch. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see her in an orange jumpsuit.
Yeah. The questioning was feeble considering the severity of their crimes. I know. And see, the problem is, well, she committed crimes and so did Bill. I mean, what gets me, though, is think about this, guys. She wrote a book called What Happened. And Donald Trump held the book up and said, "I happened." That's he did that at one of his campaign stops. Well, she went on the longest book tour I ever saw. It was like 1.5 years. And every stage it wasn't just she sat at a desk or a table and signed, but no, she was getting TV thing. Like she was on camera all the time. And she said at every single one of them, I'm paraphrasing, you could run the best campaign, you could do everything right, and still it could be stolen from you. And she went on to say that the Russians, helped him win the election, knowing the entire time that she's the one who fabricated that story. You got to be some kind of a freaking psychopath to be able to do that night after night, to get up on stages and say something like that, knowing you were the prick that made up the lie in the first place. Think about that. That's crazy. Yeah, she's a psycho narcissist. Exactly. I mean, these people are just fucking nuts to be able to come out and say something. And she still says, well, the election was stolen from me. She still says it. This is why I want to see her go down for that. But she's out there saying still today that Trump is a puppet of Putin. She literally convinced the CFIUS board. CFIUS board was the Committee on Foreign Investments in the United States. It was the thing that that Obama created. And I went through this before, the uranium one, but long story short, she accepted a $145 million bribe to the Clinton Foundation to get her to get everybody on the panel, which was all the cabinet members. It was 9 members, I believe. And it was all the cabinet members with Timothy, I don't pay my taxes, Geithner being the chairman, right? And he left it because he heard about the bribes and kickbacks. Said, I don't want any more of this. He resigned from it, which was a smart thing to do. But it turns out that she accepted that money, and then she got them to actually pass the sale so that Vladimir Putin could corner the market on North American uranium. It was a Canadian company, Uranium One, but they held 20% of U.S. uranium. We're talking uranium, guys. So she says Trump was a puppet of Putin with no evidence whatsoever. It's all performative truth, no objective truth whatsoever. And yet we have objective truth that she accepted money. You know, Bill asked his wife's State Department, you know, can I go over there and speak to these investment bankers? They were the ones that wanted to make the purchase of Uranium One for Vladimir Putin. They said, no fucking way. You can't do that. Right? Former president or not. So he goes over anyway. I mean, if anybody should have been the Logan Act charged with that, it should have been him, but because nobody ever has been. But it turns out that he then goes over and anyway and knocks on the door of Vladimir Putin's summer dacha, whatever they call it, the house, right? The summer house. And he has a translator with him and cuts the deal. The money for getting the Uranium One deal to go through. It's just unbelievable. Yeah, just unfreaking believable. And they got away with it.
And how many people did they deep six in their careers?
Yeah, I'm telling you, it was like 51 the last time I counted. You know, here we go. This is Tim Walz. So this is great. So
this could be funny.
It says break. It's Eric Doherty. Doherty. Tim Walz erupts in a fit of rage after Representative Nancy Mace, who I'm liking more and more, South Carolina, asks him, what is a woman? Oh, this is great. Watch this, guys. You're going to love this.
What is a woman? Have you learned that lesson? Do you know what a woman is?
Yeah.
I'm the governor of Minnesota, Congressman.
You know what
I'm not here
is?
to be your prop for your obsession.
So
I
if you
taught middle
can't
school your
define what a
obsession.
woman is, you certainly can't define what fraud is. If you can't even define what a woman is, you can't define fraud. How much money was spent on autism in Minnesota in 2017, Governor?
I don't have those numbers in front of me, Congresswoman.
Did you prepare for this hearing today?
I
do
did.
any
I
preparation
take
for this hearing
Congress
today?
seriously.
And you've seen the numbers about autism fraud in Minnesota. So we're going to do some Minnesota math with you today, okay? Are you ready? How much money was spent on 2017
I just-
for
I
autism
wasn't
in
governor.
Minnesota? How much?
I don't know. I wasn't the governor.
Okay. Did you not just say that you prepared for this hearing today?
Right.
$1 million, okay? A quick Google search or using your AI could tell you $1 million.
He set himself
was
up
spent.
for this.
How much money was spent on autism in Minnesota in 2024?
I don't have the number in front of me.
When he was
As
Were you
governor.
governor
I
in
don't-
2024?
I was, but I'm not the
Okay,
head
so
of
your
HHS.
excuse before that you didn't know what 2017 autism numbers were because you were not governor, and today you can't answer the numbers about 2024 as governor, and you still said you prepared for this hearing today. It's unbelievable. $343 million.
Look at that. $343 million on this phony autism thing. Anglo, what's up, man? Why do you keep calling you Dave? Sorry, Rich. Dave's Waffle House. I know. You know what? I subbed him because I do that with all you guys when you guys do streams and all. I subbed him, but I haven't been able to watch anything that he does. You didn't have to admit that, you dag. Well, he knows about cotton rockets. You guys, man, are the best. Let me see. Next one. Yeah, he set himself up for that. I wasn't the governor then. Yeah, but you were, and you still don't know. All right, so
We want to watch about George Soros.
yeah, that was the one I was just going to hit. The NGOs,
I think that's an important story.
the death of the NGOs. Yeah, there you go. The fall of the NGO administrative complex. George Soros, Operation Epic Fury, and the collapse of the multilateral myth. So, how does Iran kick in with this? At first glance, it seems that the Western establishment should welcome Operation Epic Fury, as Joshua Lysek and I document in upcoming book Unelected. the entire post-World War II order has been built on the premise that global security depends on the spread of democracy or the downfall of tyrants at the very least. The United Nations Secretary General Kofi Annan said in a 2001 speech, there is a need for more democracy on the global level, and said the communists, which is what the United Nations has been about from the very beginning. Bullshit. It's always been about communism. The global order. What's that?
Globalism.
Yeah, but communism. It was before the globalism thing. Communism is globalism. When
I was going to say globalism is pretty much communism.
Yeah. The global order is no fan of Iran. Atlantic writer and former National Endowment for Democracy Board member Ann Applebaum has consistently named Iran alongside Russia and China as one of the three greatest atrocities threatening the world. Senator Chris Murphy, that piece of crap, a member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee and speaker at the Council on Foreign Relations, guilty, drew an explicit parallel during the 2022 I'm going to murder the name, massacres, declaring, just as we stood together with the people of Ukraine, oh, good Lord, during their revolution of dignity, the United States must continue standing with the people of Iran. Can you believe this shit? The Dems are saying we're going to stand with the people of Iran. Yeah, okay. So then why do you guys want to stop Operation, what do they call it? Epic Fury. Because they tried to vote to stop Trump from being able to do what he's doing.
Yeah,
and it was slapped down. It was slapped down.
To take out the guy who killed between 15 and 30,000 of his own people protesting.
Yeah, in just a couple of years too.
No, I'm talking about just recently, just like this year.
Was it that many?
I think it was.
I thought it was like 15,000.
Because when they rose, yeah, but that's what they tell us.
Yeah, true.
They tell us 15,000, and then I've heard some rumors that it was an awful lot more. They were just gunning them down in the street.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, Ludwig. George Soros is an evil MF. Yeah, you're right. Why were Democrats allowed to ask Waltz questions and waste the time? Because it's an equal time thing. If you're on the committee, you get everybody that's on the committee. Usually the majority party has one extra person. That's how they do it.
Doesn't George Soros remind you of Emperor Palpatine?
Yeah.
Look at him.
Yeah, I know.
Look at him.
I know.
Oh no, this is good. We got to do this.
What's that? Do what? Did you put something up?
Just a sec.
Oh, did you put something up? I have a picture that I use of him a lot, where it looks like his face was mauled, and he's got that Satan look. Here we go. So one might think that these defenders of democracy would celebrate the removal of the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, or Khomeini, a brutal fundamentalist religious totalitarian. He's a lunatic. He's like one of those. What was it? He's a 13er, or what did they call it? A 12er or 13? I forget. Instead, those same voices are now loudly condemning the airstrikes. Right. Murphy's reaction offered no sympathy for the thousands of Iranians killed in by the regime. The only outrage at Trump. In America, we don't allow one doddering, self-obsessed old man to waste our money on a dangerous, disastrous overseas war. Guys, they don't seem, these effing idiots on the Democrat side, they don't seem to understand that when Iran tells you for 47 years that they want the bomb because they want to use it on you, you should take that shit seriously. And they're saying now that before Epic Fury and what he did last year, Midnight Hammer, that they were closer to getting it than they thought. They were a lot closer than they thought. And there's a balance of power going on. I had a video that I did. It was yesterday it came out. And yeah, it was yesterday. And it was about that it's actually China that was using Iran in the Middle East in order to keep the United States in the Middle East and not screw around with China in the Pacific. All right, because they do have plans to take Taiwan, but China buys 90% of Iran's oil. 90%. That's a lot. Okay, 90% of their oil, and they supply them with the technology to do the spying and the credit score type things that the facial recognition, all that bullshit to lock them down. Yeah, China. China. Yeah.
So share my screen.
Where is it? I don't see anything up. Did you? Oh, it's down below. All right, they moved it up. There you go. Before present. Oh, I got to remove the other one. Oh, great. All right, let's remove that, and we'll put that up.
Doesn't that look like George Soros?
Yeah, he does. China.
Looks like George Soros.
Oh yeah. You see. Yeah, he does. I have one too. That is actually funny as well. But yeah, but
that makes the point though.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm just going to stop sharing. Yeah, what's going on is China. China's making deals galore in the Middle East, and they're trying to get the United States to be inside the Middle East so that we don't have any. We don't have the capacity to get out to the Pacific, where they're going to try to do certain things over the next year.
That's why they want the Houthis out of Yemen to attack them on that side,
right?
Because
and
that takes up more resources.
And they really, really need the oil that they got from Venezuela and they got from Iran. And now Trump's taking care of that. So what are they going to do? They just lost a lot of oil, and the oil was sanctioned, so they were doing what was called ghost deliveries, right? You know, they would put them on ships and change the manifest, lie about it, turn the lights out, you know,
change the name of the ship.
Right. They changed it all, and they got caught a lot. But
I thought it was funny. Did you see where the U.S. Navy was chasing these ships, and they had sailors draped off the front of the ship, painting a new name on the front of the ship? In the middle of the ocean, they're painting a new name on the front of the ship.
That's funny. Let's do this. Here's a fun story. If you're MAGA, it's a fun story. All right, ready? America got a 3-fer last night. Was the other night.
Oh,
3 Trump haters went down in a ball of flames. We got over here on the right is Dan Crenshaw, real piece of crap rhino. We have now I'm gonna miss her, Jasmine Crockett, because she was always worth a good laugh for a story. I know we have the guy that was on the Geico commercials. It's Congressman Al Green. He's the guy that was holding the sign out on the State of the Union, right? That guy. Yeah, he looks like he belonged on a Geico commercial. But anyway, so sometimes politics actually delivers good news. Today is one of those days. I love it. Last night, a trio of obnoxious Trump-hating voices went down in flames during their primaries. These anti-America first losers got a very clear message from voters. You're done. You're dead. Texas decided it had seen more than enough from these 3. One of the sweetest moments of the night came when Republican rhino Representative Dan Crenshaw, a man who has a feverish hate for all things MAGA, got smacked in his primary. For years, Crenshaw has had more in common with the left than the voters who actually sent him to D.C. It's true. Seeing Texas voters finally say that's enough was sweet revenge. In the end, of course, Dan tried to pretend he was MAGA all along, which is a joke, and voters know it. He's a piece of crap. The shakeup didn't stop with Rhino Dan. 2 of the most over-the-top anti-Trump Dems in the country also skated on thin ice and fell through. Jasmine Crockett, known more for her ghetto fabulous meltdowns, was knocked out of her race by Dem challenger, who just might be the whitest man on planet Earth. Oh, the hilarious irony. Now, here's the thing. She went on the next day claiming that, now this was in Dallas, where she was, the election, and she blamed the Republicans. That's how the Republicans like to roll, because she said that there were problems with the election. There's always problems with Democrat elections. Democrat is, or Dallas, Texas, is 100% controlled by Democrats. If a Republican wanted to change rules or do some shenanigans, he couldn't. She couldn't. It's impossible. They don't have control of anything, but she blamed Republicans. So, and it was Tallarico, who is a effing lunatic. We'll get to him in a minute. Crockett had already lost her House seat due to redistricting. They said redrawing. She had hopes of taking her hood shtick to the Senate, but those dreams came crashing down when she was spanked by James Tallarico. I thought she was running for a state seat. So
She was running for senator.
No, it's U.S. Senate.
No, she was running for U.S. state.
Yeah. I
US
thought
Senate.
she was running for a state seat, but because that's what I had heard. But then now, just this week, I heard it was U.S. Senate. I'm like, that's weird.
She moved from state to U.S. House, and now she was running for.
Yeah, we're gonna watch her now. Here we go.
So, so that's my news, is that we're not going to have election results tonight, in my opinion, based upon.
This is from before she lost.
Well, she had already lost, but they when a Democrat loses, they always go, "Oh, there's voter suppression or something going on there. How could the people not elect me?" And they just extend the time because you got to kiss their ass, right? Especially the whitest white guy against her
in Dallas County. Unfortunately,
watch.
This is what Republicans like to do.
And look at them all. Yeah, man, a Republican. There's not a single Republican in that room, and there's no Republican in Dallas that could have done anything.
So they specifically targeted Dallas County, and
I would love for someone to say to her, just one mainstream media, not two or three, just one, to say, what exactly did that? I want to do this story. So what exactly did the Republicans do that hurt you?
And who actually did it?
Yeah.
So,
that's the
I want you
boogeyman.
to enjoy
excuse.
yourselves, but I won't be back tonight because I have no idea of when we're going to get results, and I fully anticipate it won't be until tomorrow.
Yeah, and you lost, so get over yourself.
And looks like Tony Gonzalez is out too. He's House seat. He's another horrible rhino.
Oh yeah.
And he was found, besides voting for a bunch of stuff that really shouldn't vote for.
Right.
Now he's found out to have had an affair with a staffer.
I heard about that.
Who was found dead, and we're potentially going to get. They had to go to a runoff because Brandon Herrera won, but he didn't win by more than 50%. So they got to go to a runoff. But go Brandon Herrera. I would love to see him get it.
Right. Here you go. This one's great. I mean, it's a rumble, so I got to get past the.
I don't know if you know Brandon Herrera, but he's a YouTuber.
Hold on. All right, here we go. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. So here we go. This is great. This is the guy, Tallarico. He is a progressive to the core. He is a raging lunatic, but he comes off all sweet. He bastardized Christianity. Let's give this a watch.
They're going to throw everything they have at us. They're going to call me a radical leftist.
He is.
Our trans community needs abortion care too. God.
Did you hear that? Our trans community needs abortion too. So a man who is going to transition into a woman needs abortion. What?
Or is that a woman who transitioned to a man? I'm confused.
Well, they have abortion. So why would he say our trans community needs abortion too? They have abortion. They can go for an abortion. They can. Even in Texas, they can go for an abortion. But so when he's saying that, common sense dictates he's saying that men who transition into women need to have abortion. Let's just continue.
Is non-binary. Modern science. God is non-binary.
Jesus, let's go back.
Our trans community needs abortion care too. God is non-binary.
God is non-binary.
Didn't he just win himself a whole lot of voters in Texas?
You think about that. Well, yeah, he did, because there's I don't know how it's possible, but there's a lot of blue voters in Texas.
Well, he won blue voters in Dallas and Austin.
Right. But I don't know how in Texas. I don't know how it's happening. I don't know how there's so many blue voters down in Texas.
Austin
beyond
and Dallas. Austin and
Texas is a great state.
It's kind of like Colorado. If we didn't have Boulder and Denver.
Yeah. Oh, well, Pennsylvania as well. Pennsylvania is a swing state, but we have Philadelphia and we have Erie. We got Reading. We got a lot of blue cities. It's mostly red, but the people are in those cities. Where
even in California, if you ever look by
it's all red. Yeah,
county by county.
If you do a county map on the United States, it's like a sea of red and little splotches of blue.
With spots of blue in the high density cities.
Yeah, let's get on with this.
Modern science obviously recognizes that there are many more than 2 biological sexes. In fact, there are 6.
Prison is violence. It's hard to imagine a world without prison. Just because it's hard to imagine doesn't mean you shouldn't.
Just because it's hard to imagine doesn't mean you shouldn't. A world without prisons, he said. He's a lunatic. Oh, they're going to call me a political leftist. Well, you're beyond political leftist.
I was going to say there's a reason for that.
That sign Al Green had was, it was pathetic, bro. It was. Well, he shook his cane at Trump in the beginning of this term when Trump had that joint session that was like a State of the Union, and Trump stood there, and the speaker got up, Johnson got up and said the gentleman will suspend, and he wouldn't because he wanted to get thrown out, and he said, Sergeant at Arms, please remove him. And everybody's like, oh my God, you removed Al. Yeah, because he's holding a fucking cane to the president of the United States. I don't care if he was 30 feet away or 100 feet. You hold a cane up to the president, you're getting arrested. You're getting at least booted out.
Listen, if you ever wanted to have an exciting time, just send an email that would suggest you would be interested in doing certain things to the certain top executive of the country.
I know, crazy.
And just wait until some people knock at your door.
Oh, I know. Yeah, you get the Secret Service is going to come up and meet you.
Oh yeah, FBI and or Secret Service,
stuff like that. Yeah. Let's see. China guys. Yeah, here we go. This is what we're doing to China. China. Okay, so here we go. So China guides down. Beijing drops economic growth target to lowest level in 35 years. China just admitted, hold on, let me get it bigger. China just admitted what we've been reporting for years, the Liberty Daily. Was it Liberty or who is it? Yeah, Liberty Daily. It's a good aggregate. The old growth engine is sputtering, and the world's second largest economy is officially shifting into a lower gear. At the opening of the National People's Congress on Thursday, Premier Li Qiang, I think I got it right, unveiled a 2026 GDP growth target of 4.5 to 5%, the lowest benchmark since 1991, and the first time in over 3 decades that Beijing has dared to set anything below 5%. It's because if they set a mark at 5% and they come in lower, then they failed. So if they set it lower and they achieve it, hey, we got it. And nobody talks about, it was supposed to be high. The announcement came at the start of the National People's Congress, a meeting of China's leaders in Beijing's Great Hall of the People, where government officials reveal economic and policy priorities for the year. The real culprits, homegrown headaches, not just tariffs. While one could point to the 2025 trade escalations as current uneasy truce with higher duties suspended until late 2026 and a Trump-Xi summit looming March 31 to April 2nd, China's slowdown is overwhelmingly domestic. Here's what's going on. Yeah, they have a problem with real estate there. Serious problem. Property sector implosion. The bubble, because most people in China are not in stocks and bonds. It's real estate. That's what they get into. The bubble that once drove 25 to 30% of GDP has burst and shows no signs of bottoming. Sales, prices, starts, and completions keep sliding. Developers default, local governments bleed revenue, and household wealth tied up in real estate evaporates. This crushes consumer confidence in spending more than any tariff ever could. There's some crazy lines. Okay, so growth declines. There you go. Oh, look at that. Jesus, below that. So chronic deflation, which is what caused the Great Depression. Prices have fallen for years, longest since market reforms, eroding profits. Wait, we got to get you a cough button.
There you go.
Eroding profits, wages, and willingness to spend. Involution, cutthroat overcapacity, and race to the bottom competition in EVs, electric vehicles, solar, batteries, and manufacturing squeezes margins while flooding markets. I'm surprised they haven't unleashed like the Nipah virus on the world. I'm serious. I'm surprised they're not doing it. because that would certainly cause our markets to shut down, right? And maybe they could recover. I'm surprised they're not doing that, because that's what they did COVID for. Weak domestic demand, high youth unemployment, stagnant wages, a shredded social safety net, driving sky-high savings instead of consumption, and post-property trauma leaves households wary. It's subsidies for appliances or EVs haven't moved the needle because people aren't earning enough to spend freely. Cooling job market and youth unemployment crisis. Urban youth unemployment remains stubbornly elevated at 16.5% as of late 2025, down only slightly from a record 18.9 peak amid structural mismatches. Millions of new graduates flood the market each year, chasing scarce white-collar and iron rice bowl government jobs. That's kind of racist. Competition ratios hitting 100-to-1 in some provinces, while factories struggle with labor shortages due to overcapacity and export redirection. And I'm going to be honest with you. I think a lot of this is because of his tariffs. Because China, we found out, why we don't know. They literally created their economic policy on Americans buying their cheap shit. Because I think it's like only 18%. Last I read was 18% of Chinese people buy their cheap shit, and Europe they don't buy that stuff. You know, like they don't like the little like fidgets and stuff, the little stupid stuff that we Americans have the money, you know, to buy, and we buy that dumb shit, right? They don't buy that stuff. They don't waste their money on that, right? And so they created their entire economy, their entire economic policy on a certain percentage of their income comes from selling their crap to us. And Trump kind of destroyed that. Because a lot of the manufacturing companies had to shut down. Or I saw a documentary where people just walked around and asked questions like, what's going on? They go, we had to shut down. Nobody's buying anything because of the tariffs. So yay, Trump. Let's see. After China opened the country up to foreign investment, they grew rapidly, becoming the world's second largest economy. Much of this growth comes from manufacturing, which included expansions in vast industrial parks, EV plants, and data centers, typically financed by cheap loans from state-owned banks. The country's factories produce many of the world's electric vehicles, solar panels, and lithium batteries. Yeah, but what they did was they did all that forced technology transfer bullshit. You know, you want to get into the solar, we're going to create a solar market in Europe. You want to get involved? Okay, give us the blueprints of everything that your technology is about, or we're not going to let you in. They did that for years and nobody went after them. I'm just shocked by that. With car maker BYD notably overtaking Tesla as the world's largest EV producer. So Chinese Premier Li Jiang, I don't care, patted the country on the back for meeting 2025 economic growth of 5% amid a grave and complex landscape, which blended internal difficulties with external shocks. As to the new low target, analysts see it as pragmatic. It buys breathing room for structural fixes. I'm getting really bored reading this. So in other words, they're in trouble financially. They really are.
And you know, I think
hey, what's up, loafers?
I think we exchanged some texts this week, and that my problem is that the China is so closed. We don't know whether they're ready to take over the world or about to collapse completely.
Yeah, I know.
We just don't know.
California, Oregon came to Texas. Now, actually, a lot of people say that, but the reality is, in a lot of the with that happened, because then a lot of people from the Northeast went down to Florida, right? Florida's got a super majority Republican, and the Democrats, since DeSantis got reelected and he brought all that super majority in with like even increased it more, that became kind of a myth, because what happened there is that the people that left New York and like Connecticut and Vermont and all that, the people that left there to go to Florida, they were conservatives that just couldn't take it anymore. And the same with California. Now, there are some people that from California, they went one of two places, right? They went to Texas or they went to Colorado. And the libnuts went to Colorado But a lot of the people that left California to go to Texas, why would a libnut go to Texas? All right. Colorado was purple at the time. I believe that happened. And they were like, yeah, we could get some progressive shit going on there. But why would a California progressive move to Texas knowing that Texas was very conservative? I mean, their legislature, I think, meets once every 3 years, and it's only for so many months. Can you imagine? Can you imagine that? And it's not their main job. You know, seriously, that's just incredible. But I think they're one of the few states that does that. But I don't think that that's the case, because I used to, and then I started reading up on it. I'm like, why do they let them do it, like overtake like that? But I think what's happening is you had politicians in Texas that like a lot of Texas, southern Texas is let's face it, it's Mexican. All right. The culture there is Mexican. All right. A lot of people that are American citizens live like Mexican. In fact, there's some spots in Texas where they don't use U.S. currency. They use the peso. The people that work there. It's like the Berkshire stock or the Birkenstock, whatever it is up in Massachusetts. They have a different dollar system in certain towns. They don't use U.S. currency. And I don't think there's anything illegal about that. I think they can.
There's border towns in Texas that are over 90% Hispanic.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
And
so,
I think is it Clark County, 90 over 90% Hispanic, and they went like over like 70, like they went like 75% for Trump.
Yeah. And the thing was that Hispanics historically, when they came from, if they came from Mexico, okay, or Colombia, right, they were actually conservatives. They just didn't know it yet. I mean, they shared things with family, God, right? Get a job, right? It was the paupers from the Central and South American countries that were just poor AF, right? They're the ones that came up, and they just came for the free check and all that, right? But I mean, Cubans, the Democrats treat Cubans like crap, even though they come from a communist country, because when they get here, they actually start businesses. They're mostly in Florida, but Miami and whatnot, but they start businesses, right? They don't sit around waiting for a Democrat to help them.
Yeah,
right.
What's interesting is a lot
So
of
they
people,
hate them.
What a lot of people are blaming Hispanics for Jasmine Crockett's loss.
Yep.
And
I heard
what's
that.
interesting is that by what Democrats are saying about Hispanics, it's only driving them further and further away from the Democrat Party.
Oh yeah, I know. Well, they're a doomed party, and I think the only reason they realize it too. I think the only reason they haven't gone down like the Whigs is because of the media.
Yeah, well, they're losing Hispanics. Trump actually got more of the black male vote than any Republican, like, I don't know, in history. And now I'm sure you've heard the Iranian diaspora, who are American citizens, are vaulting away from the Democrat Party. Okay, Rich, I hope you're still here. What happened?
I'm back. Sorry.
What happened?
I hit the wrong button. I went to move something, and on my mouse, I hit the back button, and it took me out of the studio. I'm like, oh, crap.
So you didn't hear what I said. I was just saying Iranian diaspora, who are now American citizens, are vaulting and running from the Democrat Party.
Oh, yeah.
And they're running around holding signs that say, "Thank you, Mr. President."
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And they always voted very reliably Democrat.
And meanwhile, do you remember Elian Gonzalez? Do you remember him? Elian Gonzalez was that little kid. He was that little kid that well, he's from Cuba, and he came over with his mother on a raft. The mother died on the way, trying to get him to freedom, right? Yeah. And the Clinton administration and the Democrats, he had the fart. That's pretty funny. I give you cheers for that. That was funny. That makes me laugh. Yeah, he had the fart. Well, if I did that, I could just shut my camera and my thing off, my sound off, right? But anyway, so Alien Gonzalez, if you guys don't remember, was the kid who his mother escaped from Cuba and on a raft, and she died on the trip, but he stayed alive, and they found him, you know, washing up to the beach and all that. And he had relatives, aunts and uncles and whatnot, that were in America. Right?
And they found him in a closet.
Now there is a law that for Cuba, that's only Cuba, that says, because it's a communist country and it's only 90 miles off our port, off our shores, and it says that if a Cuban touches U.S. soil, we automatically give them asylum. It's just they don't even have to go to court. Automatic. We just take all your info. We try to work you into wanting to get a permanent residency status, but you got to work for it. But if they're caught in the water, we turn them around and send them back. Well, the kid touched U.S. soil, so they had to take him in. Okay,
wet foot, dry foot.
Yeah.
Wet
So
foot,
the
dry
kid.
foot.
The kid they take him in, and the family has him. He's going to school. He's happy. He's gaining weight. Right here, Fidel Castro, who was still alive at the time, Fidel Castro, he goes and contacts the State Department, the U.S. State Department under Clinton, and says, "We want him back. His father wants him back. You have to give him to his father." Now, the father and the mother were divorced. The father hadn't paid child support in, like, if the kid was 7, he hadn't paid in 6 years. Right? The father lived in a garage. He was renting a garage and lived in a garage, and it wasn't a big garage, and I think there was a fucking car in there. Okay, so he was living in a garage. That's not a place to raise a little kid like that, right? And the father was noted. He called the American relatives and said, Alien and she, whatever her name is, are on their way. Take good care of them, please. And they were like, oh, you know it. We will. So he wanted Alien to be in the United States. He wanted him to become a citizen and live here, right? So the Clintons, with long story short, too late, they threw his ass back to the Cubans. I can't imagine any president during the Cold War, if somebody snuck over the wall from East to Western Germany, and we would catapult them over. Get over there. You know, no, that's what the Clinton administration actually did. And I was thinking about him the other day for some weird reason. I was like, I wonder what happened to him, because what happened was they sent him home, and he did not see his father because they put him in a re-education camp because he was playing, you know, video games, and he was hanging out with kids and having a good time and eating, you know, whatever they wanted to buy at this local supermarket. You know, he learned what the world was like, because they had to retrain him so he wouldn't go to school and tell his classmates how awesome it was to be in America and what a shithole the island is. You know, that's what happened to Alien Gonzalez. So that's the difference between Republicans and Democrats when it comes to how they're going to treat. What's this? Oh, I can't show Jimmy. I don't think I can play that. He showed me a British humor thing. I don't know if I could play that. You probably wanted to lean. What's that mean? I don't know what that means, Linda. Thought he went to Portland. Here, let's do this. Yeah, here's one. Sleepy Joe.
But just before.
What's that?
Just give me 1 second.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
You got something you're putting up?
Yeah, I'm trying to do that right now.
All right, go ahead. Put it up, and then we'll do it.
And
Alien Gonzalez. Hang on.
Yeah, and yeah, here's the thing. Go away. This is the.
I don't see it.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming
okay.
Right now. Now I've got it. And
All
it
right.
should be. This is the famous picture.
There it is. Oh yeah. Let me talk about this. This is a picture where Clinton's
Janet Reno
immigration enforcement or whatever, I forget who they were, but they went in with guns blazing. That's Alien being held. Can you increase it?
Yeah, I've been trying to figure out how to do that.
Alien. Go ahead.
Alien.
Alien Gonzalez. That's how he said his name. That's Alien crying, terrified, having guns pointed at him, and they ripped him out of the family's hands, took him in a car, shipped him back off to Cuba, where he went into an re-education camp and probably lived a horrible life.
Yeah, this is the little boy. This is like an uncle or something.
Yeah, that was the family.
And this is Janet Reno's doing.
Yeah, oh yeah, Janet Reno, Herman Munster in a dress.
Yeah.
Janet Reno was the attorney general at the time. She came from Florida, and she was Clinton's attorney general. What a piece of shit she was.
What a miserable.
Yeah,
piece of work.
but Clinton's the one that told her to do it. To this day, nobody knows why they threw a young child who was thriving here back at Fidel. Nobody to this day knows why. Yeah, let me see. Elian Gonzalez. He's a Cuban engineer and a politician. Yeah, so he's a Cuban engineer and a politician. What does he do now? Now, we don't know if that's true because it's Cuba, right? What happened to Elian Gonzalez? The Cuban boy at the center of a 2000 custody battle, grew up in Cuba, became an industrial engineer, and was elected to the Cuban National Assembly in 2023, continuing his role as a public figure while advocating for Cuba, even expressing a desire to help improve U.S.-Cuba relations. After his return to his father in Cuba, he graduated with an engineering degree, married, and has a daughter, living a life that remains tied to Cuba's political landscape. In other words, he's living a shitty life compared to what he had for those few short. I think it was a year he was here for that very short time. You know, that whole thing made no sense, guys.
Yeah. In other words, he was politically rearranged, politically brainwashed, and now he's working in some sort of governmental such.
Oh yeah. All right, let me bring Sleepy Joe up. This is
the AI thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see that. That gotta be funny.
This says Sleepy Joe is lucky AI wasn't as sophisticated when he was in office. Let me see if this is going to be a commercial. So, look at that. There's a whole lot of loving going on there.
Oh, that's a whole lot of Rosie.
Yeah, I know.
Telling his white kids.
Here we go. There we go. Here we go. Let's bring it up.
Joe Bidenberg, what do you think about inequality in public education?
When I used to be a lifeguard and the sun would bleach the hair on my legs, the little black kids, they'd come up and want to touch.
He kind of said that.
Come on, man. You know the thing.
Joe Bidenberg, what do you think about inequality in public education?
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. No joke. I mean it, man. I'm going to crush him. I'm going to, what's that word? Help me, man.
Crucify him.
Yeah, that's it. I'm going to crucify him.
You were close.
You hear that?
Hear what?
The jingle. Sounds like a truck with the cold stuff.
Joe,
hold that thought. Evening, you got the swirl one? Wait a minute. The paper's blank.
World Wrestling. PRLD.
Now what?
Well, I was just going.
Wait. Are you Corn Pop?
What? No, I'm.
I told Xi Jinping about the thing, man, in Scranton.
Jesus.
First, I'm going to whack him with this corded spear gizmo. Then I yell the thing. What's the thing they're supposed to yell?
You mean get over here?
Yeah, that one. I'm going to holler, get over here, Jack. And when he gets over here, I'm going to, give him the old flip him like a pancake. Not the Sunday ones, the thin kind. Then maybe I'll step to the microphone, Mr. Gene. Say the thing. Which thing? You were going to ask me, or was it me asking you? Well, parking lot's out.
You get it? They had to give him a script to tell him what he's supposed to say and what they're going to say to him, and he screwed it up.
Yeah,
he did that in real life.
That way, right? I left it. I'm going to crush him. I'm going to, what's that word? Help me, man.
Open the borders.
Yeah, that's it. I'm going to open the borders on him. Corn Pop was a bad dude.
Joe, how's it hanging?
Start here. Make sure to say you love Black Panther and Despacito. Mom!
Oh, come on. Joe Bidenberg, your debut tonight is against the man they call Medicare. What's going through your mind?
Smell like cedar polish.
Hey, Joe, don't do that. Stop sniffing
Checking
me.
the wood grain, yeah.
Joe, seriously, interview. Joe Bidenberg, your first night here. How are you feeling heading into the ring?
Where's the ice cream at? They said someone had a cone.
Joe Bidenberg, what do you think about inequality in public education?
Where's the door? Not that way. Okay.
He got lost. Oh, jeez. That was actually kind of cute.
It's kind of halfway amusing.
Yeah, but a lot of people put a lot of time and effort into that. So not good. He's got so many creepy he did. He was a bad actor. You're right. He really was. Yeah, the Clintons were evil people. They truly were. Some of the stuff they did. They were really bad people. But let's see what's next. Let's get on with some videos. Christy Noam we already know. Supreme Court. Oh yeah. I could just say it. The Supreme Court ruled that that now, all right, what the Biden lawyers, what they started doing is there was like one of the groups is called CARA, C-A-R-A. I talk about them. And they were a group of pro bono lawyers that were open borders lawyers. So you know where they came from, right? And so they would go into Mexico and they would tell the people in the caravans, like, all you got to do is you go up, you just go through the border. If you get caught, you ask for asylum. They go, say asylum. Okay, asylum. All right. And they said they gotta let you go in for asylum, right? And so this judge, well, let's read it anyway. This is actually pretty good. Give you an idea. So let's bring it up because I can't paraphrase it to justice. Supreme Court hands the Trump administration a victory on immigration because this was a bullshit thing. All the libnuts are saying everybody has the right to apply for asylum. No, you don't. No, you don't. International law says that it has to be the very next country you come to that isn't either politically, the government isn't politically attacking you, right? And there's no war going on. For most people, that would be Mexico or Canada.
Or they're kind of right. You can apply, but you don't get to like come into the country.
Technically, they can't apply. Technically, UN law that we all live by, right? International law says it has to be the first country. If you live in a country, the first country you come to that does not have a war and their government isn't persecuting you. So you can't, in other words, you're not, according to the law, right? You're not allowed to pick the country that you want to claim asylum in.
You're not. So, I thought like if you got into Mexico, you had to stop there, but you could apply to the United States.
Technically, you're supposed to apply for asylum to the first country you come to. You can't skip a country because we got the fucking pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. You can't do that. But yet we've always allowed them to.
And you can't do it for economic reasons.
Exactly. So here you go. So the Supreme Court, let's see, this was unanimously. That means the three libnuts agreed. So I'm telling you, they're going to shut down the anchor baby thing, but that's another story. The Supreme Court unanimously, you can't get those 9 people to agree what's for dinner. All right. The Supreme Court unanimously ruled that federal appeals courts must defer to immigration judges' determinations on whether asylum seekers face harm in their home countries severe enough to qualify for U.S. protection, marking a victory for the Trump administration's immigration agenda. Now, technically, that's only Canadians and Mexicans. If we're gonna, adhere to the law, no one's above the law, right? Including paupers from third world countries that are nothing but a bill. They think we owe them a goddamn living. We don't owe them jack. And Jack left town 2 weeks ago. I saw him leaving. So the decision is, and by the way, U.S. immigration judges do not work for the judiciary. They work for the executive branch. That's a fact. And so they work for the president of the United States, immigration judges. So the decision is expected to streamline the asylum process and block common tactics used by applicants and their attorneys to delay removal from the country. Here it is from Town Hall or SCOTUS Wire. Sorry. The Supreme Court unanimously ruled that federal courts must defer for that whole qualify as persecution in asylum cases. So it's got to be war or the government there is persecuting you. All right. So there's the ruling, but now we'll go the case Urias or Orellana V. Bondi, Pam Bondi, centered on a family that entered the U.S., the country, from El Salvador in 2021 and pursued asylum. They claimed they were, now, where do you hear this? This is, I read this one. They claimed they were being persecuted based on credible testimony that a hitman had killed two of the husband's half-brothers and was targeting their family with death threats, extortion demands, and violence. But the problem is they can credibly say that hitmen are there, but the hitmen are not the government, and it's not a war. You got a problem with a hitman, that's your problem. An immigration judge on the Board of Immigration Appeals found the testimony credible, but ruled the facts did not rise to the level of persecution under the Immigration and Nationality Act. They denied asylum and ordered removal. That's badass, right? The case was appealed, but the First Court of Appeals upheld the denial. This is the libnuts are pulling their hair out, right? The Supreme Court agreed with Ketanji Brown Jackson, writing the majority opinion. Ketanji Brown Jackson, who doesn't know what a woman is. Ready? Here we go. She writes, we conclude that the statute requires application of the substantial evidence standard to the agency's conclusion that a given set of undisputed facts does not constitute persecution. Accordingly, we affirm. Wow. Under the ruling, federal appeals courts must now defer to immigration agencies on questions of asylum. Once an agency determines that the facts do not establish persecution, courts have far less ability to second guess that judgment, making successful asylum appeals more difficult. That used to be the way that they would get themselves in by cheating.
Yeah, and the only thing that the federal courts can do now is just make sure that the law was applied. Just make sure that the facts are there.
So here you go. The decision also streamlines removals and reduces administrative delays by eliminating a common tactic used by asylum seekers and their attorneys, asking courts to independently reevaluate whether persecution occurred. Now, the editor's note, thanks to President Trump, illegal immigration in our great country has virtually stopped. Despite the radical left's lies, new legislation wasn't needed to secure our border, just a new president. Do you remember when Biden said, oh, I'd love to do all that, but we have to get Congress to act? Trump never needed Congress to act. He just did what the law said he already could do. Joe Biden was a liar. Well, we all know that.
I mean, this is my shocked face.
Yeah, I know. Let me say this. Maybe the Clintons are all born into the secret club. Yeah, they definitely were. Well, the Clintons were nobody. I mean, they were nothing in Arkansas. And then they came like she's a student of Saul Alinsky. So she's a scammer. The perfect place for her to be was Secretary of State. Because there are a lot of shithole countries in this world, but you know what? There's money to be made there. Because the oligarchies in charge of those communist and socialist countries, they have money. They got the people's money, right? People may be poor as dirt, but they got money, and she found ways to make it. The OG Vietnamese boat people. You know what? It's a funny story, Linda. The company I work for, we just moved to a new building recently this week. All right. And one of the guys, Phil, right? He's Chinese. And he came to America when he's 5 years old, but he's in IT. It's the same department, but a different division. He's with the tech people. I'm a programmer, right? I write software. He fixes, broken stuff, sets things up, does network stuff. So we were just talking, like everybody's moving. So we just talking. I don't see him too much, but I just saw him and I said, and he just talked about, I don't know how we got into it, but he said, my family's from China, but we lived in Vietnam. And he goes, I was 5 years old when Saigon fell. We were in Saigon. I went, oh, you were one of the boat people. And he laughed. He goes, yeah. And he goes, my family, there were 7 of us and 4 of us were kids. And he goes, and they just kept running us through. He goes, I was 5 years old and I had to run. He goes, they were carrying so much of their things, they couldn't carry me and I couldn't keep up. So they were dragging me. They had to get out. And he goes, I remember that. And he goes, and then finally, someone that my father had bribed didn't take the money and run. He actually got us a spot on a boat. He goes, so we got on the boat and we get out and we're in the sea. There's, no horizon. We're in the sea and we're heading out. And he goes, and the captain died. What are the odds, right? He goes, the captain died. So we were adrift. He goes, it was 2 days we were there with no food or water. He goes, I remember I woke up one morning and I opened my eyes and there's this giant ship, biggest thing I ever saw, right next to our boat. And he goes, and we're like, oh, wow, we got in. And I was like, wow, that's a hell of a story. He goes, yeah. He goes, and it's true. And I was like, who was the ship? And it was a ship from in Asia, but I guess they were good guys. I can't remember who said, but that was his story. But I'm like, wow, man, because you think of like Vietnam, because he's like close to my age, I guess, because if he was 5 years old in 79, right? Do the math. So that was kind of cool, though.
I got a story for you real quick.
Sure.
I had a patient. He was Vietnamese from South Vietnam.
She was a medical doctor, for those of you that don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's a medical doctor.
I am a doctor. I still have a license.
Right.
I'm a doctor, but I'm not your doctor, and this is not medical information.
She's retired, Dr.
Yeah.
J.
So this guy was a helicopter pilot with the South Vietnamese regulars. Okay. So he's there in 1975, and he knows what happens if the VC catch any pilots. I mean, they kill them by stripping their skin off in 1 inch. Anyway,
that's nasty.
So he said what he did, and if my memory serves, he actually got his family, got them into the bed. I mean, total confusion. Nobody knows what's going on at this point. So he managed to get his family, throw them in the back of the helicopter, takes off, and he says, I just went that way. He said, the 7th Fleet was out there somewhere. I was either going to find it or I wasn't. And so he just, can I be one of my patients? So he just took off over the water.
Right.
No idea. And just kept flying. There was no way he was getting back. He was either getting to the 7th Fleet or landing in the ocean.
Right.
And sure enough, oh my God, there's a ship.
Nah.
And he found them.
Nice.
And he ended up on the ship and made a good life for himself in this in the previously wonderful country of Canada, which has gone downhill.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry.
I'm
sorry. What am I saying? No, it was in this wonderful country that he was my patient here, not that long ago. He was my patient here. But yes, Canada used to be something I might have, but no, it's a communist crap hole now.
Right. I'm sorry. Are we done?
Yeah, I just wanted to throw that.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Because I got a video that I found interesting. Maybe you guys won't. I found it interesting. It was a woman trying to get into her apartment. This went viral, right? It's from Cypher News. This woman, she who designed the house that she has to get into. So she's in Paris, right? And she's trying to get into her home. So just wait till you see it. This is actually pretty interesting. You have to live this way. So hold on, let me get it. Okay.
No sound. There's no sound.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Hold on.
Yeah.
Hang on.
You might want to start it again.
Yeah. Did you hear it now? I'm surprised you can't. Hold on. Let me go back. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Hold on. Let me see. Is this thing? No, it's not muted. Tell me if you can hear it right now.
Okay. Well, there may not be much sound on this. I can't hear anything.
Oh, wow. That's weird. I hear it perfect. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go out. I'm going to come back again. Let me see. Wow, what a story. Yeah. Yeah, but hang on. Let me go back again because I really want you to see this.
Hang on. Patience, guys. Stick with us.
Woman goes viral. Let me
Stick with us.
Because I can hear it perfectly. I'm surprised nobody else can. So here we go. So now. Okay, so let's do this and we'll undo that. Now I will bring it up. Hopefully. If not, we could still watch it, but it's better when she talks. So tell me if you can hear it. Hold on. Let me bring it back right now. Can you hear it?
All right. Since everybody is just so utterly gobsmacked by the thought of me leaving my apartment, I thought naturally I would do the scarier view, which is me going up the stairs into my apartment. So here we go. The main entrance. Say a prayer. So naturally, as we walk in through the front door, we are met by stairs which lead to another door, which is met by a pathway with no stairs that leads to another door that is met by a courtyard to lead us to another door. And while we're here, I'll address the first question that many people had is how the hell do I carry my groceries? And that is by hand. I am a woman of integrity, so I will carry the groceries for myself. However, the load is limited to 2 leeks and 1 can of Coke. So then we open the next door to get us to the security entrance. To pause and catch my breath, give myself some grace
halfway through
before tackling the rest.
Look at this. It's like never ending.
Good Lord.
I know, watch. Oh, it's not done. And she has all kinds of other stuff she has to go through. Different keys. This is unreal.
Yeah, she was talking about how do you get
really learn a lesson here because now we're at another door with 2 locks just to get into another hallway.
To get into a hallway, 2 locks.
And safety first, of course, so have to then lock both of the locks that I just
Different key for each lock.
And that's just a hallway.
More hours and I should be at my apartment.
Look at this.
And there she is. Now I won't be leaving for 5 to 7 business days.
Can you imagine?
That's not getting into apartment. That's like a short road trip.
Yeah. That's unreal.
That's like a
all
hiking.
Those stairs and all that. Oh man.
It's a hiking adventure. That's not a road trip.
She had to go outside to get to a
you go inside,
fire hazard. You're right.
You go inside, then you go outside, then you go inside.
Then you go up all those flights. She went up like 5 flights of stairs.
You know, I can't remember which castle it was, but we toured Ireland a bunch of years ago. And it reminds me of the staircases in some of those towers that endless staircases that go up and up.
Right.
That's kind of another. Yeah, I mean, how do you drag your 8 bags of groceries up into your apartment there?
Right. Here's one, and I'm only playing this because I'm going to lead up into it. So hang on. Let me bring it up. It's about China. It's called Please Enjoy. What's it called? Please enjoy this clip of a LIV golf drone wiping out during play in China. There we go.
What is an LIV golf drone?
I have no idea. It's a Chinese golf thing. So ready? Watch.
How about
this is a drone?
Green and Sergio for his birdie.
Drone. The drone just got clobbered. Oh, it was like me flying that.
Yeah, it was a Chinese drone, right? Now, why am I pointing that out? Because apparently all the military technology that China sold to Iran shit the bed recently when the US went in and blew the shit out of everything. Nothing worked. And I mean nothing worked. Their Air Force wiped out almost immediately. Their ships at the bottom of the ocean, right? Like all their excuse me, all their commanders dead. The substitutes dead. The people are now like, I don't want that job. Get out. Boom, dead anyway, right? So what does that say on the world scale? That China creates shit. They create crap. Because everybody's trying to say, well, the Chinese military is so much better than the American. Bullshit. They're not even close.
But I don't know if I should phrase this as a question. My reading is that Iran made extremely good drones and they were like selling them to Russia.
Yeah, I just showed the drones because that was a Chinese drone that couldn't even tell.
Chinese drone.
Yeah, because you saw Hong Kong LIV Golf Classic, whatever it was.
Iran made really good drones.
Yeah, they made good drones, but nothing like our drones. But they made good drones.
Made, past tense.
Right. Made, because they're not doing it anymore. They're out of business now.
They're not doing much of anything.
But think about it. That Chinese drone that was doing the coverage, you got to think, guys, there's a contract behind that. They were on TV covering a golf classic, right? And they crashed into a tree because they didn't have the technology to say something's in the way, avoid it. I mean, we got a thing they call Monty. I think it's called Monty. It's a robot inside giant supermarkets, and he drives around. He's like this tall thing, looks like he has eyes, and he drives around. He's cleaning the floor. But if you walk in front of him, he'll stop dead, and he'll try to go either way around you. You can mess with him, right? And he'll try to, if he sees a place to go around, he'll go around. But that's a thing that cleans the floor in a supermarket, right?
I have a Tesla that will avoid traffic and change lanes on its own.
Well, your Tesla, you could hit a button on your phone and it will pull out of a parking spot and drive up for you.
Yes,
I know. But here, China, supposedly with the greatest military technology, they couldn't even have a drone that could tell, hey, you're flying into trees, a-hole. I mean, think about it. I was a landscaper. That was nothing. Yeah, Jimmy would tell you too. He was a landscaper most of his life.
But yeah, civilian technology in my Tesla does better than that.
Oh yeah. So let's see what we got here. Lords of London, a weaponized insurance market. Let me see how long it is. I wonder. Yeah, let's play this. I just got this.
Are we in the top list now?
No, we're playing this because somebody just handed it to me.
Okay.
And it looks
on the very same day.
All right. This is the Prometheum women. Okay, there's two women. It's an entire organization, but it's two women that do these videos. They are awesome. And they point out that Trump is taking on the UK government. Okay, because they were the guy, like I always say, guys, we love all you guys. We don't like your government so much because they're the ones that kept the globalism going. And they're the ones like Starmer. He's been trying to screw our economy for years. Because he doesn't like Trump and he's been trying to do it for a long time. These women are the ones who explain what's really going on. And they're always spot on. So let's give this a watch.
That Trump lowered the boom on Britain. He took direct aim at one of the oldest financial instruments of British imperial power. On Monday, March 2nd, leading ship insurers, including Lloyd's of London, announced they were canceling war risk coverage for the Strait of Hormuz and adjacent waters. 1/3 of the world's oil flows through that strait.
Yes.
Without insurance, no tanker moves. Without tankers, the global economy starts to tremble. The Strait of Hormuz isn't just a shipping lane, it's the jugular of the global energy economy. And Lloyd's of London has been the gatekeeper for 3 centuries, deciding who gets coverage and who gets shut out. Now, don't take my word for it, take theirs. When King George V laid the foundation stone of the Lloyd's building back in 1925, he called it the embodiment of the highest qualities of British commerce. And he said that Lloyd's services, quote, all maritime peoples who are in peace and amity with the British Empire. In peace and amity with the British Empire. Did you catch that? In other words, you get coverage if the Crown approves of you, and suddenly Lloyd's is pulling insurance from a war zone. That doesn't look like risk management. That looks like a weapon. And Lloyd's continues to flaunt its ties to the royals, dedicating a whole section of its website to royal moments.
Why is she doing that?
Not only that, Lloyd's has been the enforcer of the green agenda.
Yep.
In 2021, then Prince Charles showed up at Lloyd's to launch his Sustainable Markets Initiative Insurance Task Force, his vehicle
Dolly
for using
Parton's
the global
boobs, too.
insurance market to enforce the climate agenda on every nation on Earth. The same green agenda that Trump has been systematically dismantling. So when Lloyd's pulls war risk management on the Strait of Hormuz, that is not a neutral actuarial decision. That is the Crown's financial instrument deciding who gets to move energy through the world's most critical choke point. Donald Trump broke that control yesterday when the president announced that the United States Development Finance Corporation would provide political risk insurance at very reasonable prices for all ships traveling through the Gulf, and that the Navy would escort
like a boss
tankers if needed. He concluded by saying the United States will ensure the free flow of energy to the world.
Yep. How about it? How about it? They
You know
hate
what
Trump.
else?
They hate him.
You know what else Lloyd's of London covered?
Dolly Parton's tits.
Yes. What else?
I don't know.
Betty Grable's legs.
Oh, get out. Yeah. Something with Farrah Fawcett, too. I don't know what body part, but something. Yeah, but...
Oh, apparently Mariah Carey also insured her legs and voice.
Yeah, they would insure anything. Here's a good one.
Heidi Klum.
Now, there's been a lot of stuff. You guys heard about Jim Carrey, okay? Accepted the award. Wasn't Jim Carrey. It was his body double in movies and whatnot. You heard about that?
No.
Oh, yeah. It's a big thing, right? Well, now, because the guy came out and he accepted the award in French because it was in France, and he came out and he was talking. He sounds a little like him and he looks like him, but it's not him. It's not him. And now he just made this announcement that he's retiring. And this is very interesting. I didn't like him for the longest time because of what he said on, I think it was Kimmel's show, I believe, about socialism. Right? He's Canadian. He was into socialism. He was yelling at Trump supporters. Like he was dissing Trump supporters because they didn't want socialism. He said, "What's wrong with socialism?" Right? And everybody was like, "Are you insane?" But apparently he's done a lot of soul searching since. And this is one that I want you to see. Let me bring it up. He's actually announcing that he's retiring, and everybody thought, "Oh, he's kidding" and whatnot. No, he really isn't. So ready?
I'm retiring, but
No.
yeah, probably.
Are you being serious?
Listen to
Are you
this.
screwing with me?
I'm being fairly serious. Yeah.
Really?
See, he's the guy. He does not look like the guy that just accepted the award. Now,
Why?
It depends. It depends if the angels bring some sort of script that's written in gold ink that says to me that it's going to be really important for people to see. I might continue down the road, but I'm taking a break. I really like my quiet life, and I really love putting paint on canvas, and I really love my spiritual life, and I feel like, and this is something you might never hear another celebrity say as long as time exists.
Watch this.
I have enough. I've done enough. I am enough. Well, I'm retiring.
Isn't that something? What do you think?
I don't know much about Jim Carrey, but have you ever seen some of his most famous impressions?
Oh yeah.
Where I imagine most people have. The interesting thing is that he stretches and moves his face around.
Oh yeah. Well,
and he really changes the look of his face.
Well, there was one that went out there, and it wasn't him. It was an AI video. It was a long time ago, but they did it for him, and they did it for Tom Cruise. and he looked like the person, but it was really AI.
Okay, but no, I'm talking about genuine and he can move and stretch his face. I've seen him like
he can stretch his face. I've seen that where he does all that. He was always when he was a comedian, just a comedian.
Yeah.
He was always a physical guy.
He's very physical.
He was kind of funny.
He'll do things with his eyebrows and with his mouth and his chin, and he really changes the look of it. Do you have a video of the guy who was the body double?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, hang on.
I'd be curious to see who that looks like.
I'll find the video.
Because I hadn't heard about that. I don't follow anything out of Hollywood. I just don't.
Let's see if we can find it. Yeah, it's Jimmy Dore. Okay. Hold on. Let's just watch. This is Jimmy Dore. Let me bring it up. He plays the guy. But the first one is Jim Carrey. Okay.
I've done this a few times now, and it's using a decoy.
I'm sorry, a decoy.
Using a decoy. Now watch.
But right now, I want to show you this. Jim Carrey received an award in France. It's like their equivalent of their Oscar. And so I just want to show you. This is supposed to be him after he received his award. Now you tell me if this guy behaves, acts, talks, tells jokes, or even looks like Jim Carrey. You tell me.
It's a wonderful feeling. I really took on a pretty big challenge trying to do my speech in French. So, I wrote it and I researched it and I practiced it like crazy. But, it's then I watched everybody like talking 1,000 miles an hour up there receiving their awards. And I was like, I'm dead.
Okay. Jim Carrey never does that. He never tells a lame joke and then laughs at his own joke. He never does that.
That's right.
That's not how
he do weirder shit.
It's true.
That's not how he acts at that's not how he acts at award ceremonies. He mocks them. In fact, here I'll show you. Here's him mocking the awards at the Golden Globe. Watch this.
Our solar system. I am two-time Golden Globe winner, Jim Carrey. When I go to sleep at night, I'm not just a guy going to sleep. I'm two-time Golden Globe winner, Jim Carrey, going to get some well-needed shut-eye. And when I dream, I don't just dream any old dream.
I don't know. That might be
No,
him.
sir. I dream about being three-time Golden Globe winning actor Jim Carrey, because then I would be enough. It would finally be true.
It's kind of lame, though.
And I could stop this terrible search for what I know ultimately won't fulfill me. But these are important, these awards. I don't want you to think that just because if you blew up our solar system alone, you wouldn't be able to find us or any of human history with the naked eye. But from our perspective, this is huge.
It's huge. So that's how he was mocking the importance of.
But this is a French award, Jimmy.
But so now here he is at another award show, even more recent.
A lot of fashion weeks. This is the first time I've run into Jim Carrey. Wait, tell me, is it true you're wandering the streets? You need a date to the party? What's up?
No. I'm doing just fine. There's no meaning to any of this. So I wanted to find the most meaningless thing that I could come to and join, and here I am.
They're celebrating.
You got to admit it's completely meaningless.
Well, they say they're celebrating icons inside.
Celebrating icons, boy, that is just the absolute lowest aiming.
Look at her.
She's possibility that we could come up with. It's like icons. Do you believe in icons? I don't believe in personalities. I don't believe that you.
So that's how he feels about icons and award. So for them to give him an award in France,
right?
So this is like
they gave him a new forehead.
It's like a lifetime. They not only gave him this new award, they gave him a new forehead. They gave him new eyes. They gave him a new
Star Trek alien.
They gave him a new personality because
they were saying it's his body double. Is what
that's not how he acts. That's how he acts.
Right.
He doesn't act like he acted in this.
Yeah, he's not humble and like he's a very out
boisterous.
there guy.
He's very boisterous.
Yeah, he is. And if he tells a joke, it's going to be funny.
Not how he acts. In fact, what Jim Carrey looks like, this is what he looked like at that award. People are saying, well, he had face work. He had eye work. Well, when you do get eye work, does it change your eyes from brown to blue? Because this guy has blue eyes.
Right.
Do you really think Jim Carrey, a guy who gives a shit about Hollywood, gives a shit about any of that stuff, actually went and he's wearing colored contact lenses, and then he got a facelift and he got Botox? I'm finding this very, very hard to believe.
Yeah,
that is not Jim Carrey's eyes. That's not Jim.
Your eyes are the one thing that when you're born as a baby, your eyes stay the same size the rest of your life. That's a fact.
At all?
They don't
You
look
just
the
put it
same.
out.
There it is. Look at this. Those eyes are blue. These eyes are brown. Jim always had, and no matter what light you're in. So do you really think Jim Carrey is? So if that's
What
Jim
company did that
Carrey,
sent this double?
what's that?
What company? So Jim Carrey didn't want to go to France for his award.
So
and
he
they
did not want to go.
And they had this guy from
And so
somewhere.
what makes me think that? First of all, and here's another. So these aren't his teeth.
Right.
Oh my God.
So, this is what he looked like a year ago on his birthday. That's what he looked like a year ago on his birthday. Okay.
Wait.
So just notice that Jim Carrey is lefty, and he always does lefty.
Sign his autograph? There are 3 details that suggest he's not the real Jim Carrey. First, he used his right hand to sign autographs for fans, but it's well known that the real Jim Carrey is left-handed, and he himself has confirmed this in interviews. Whether writing or casually holding things in public, Jim Carrey always uses his left hand, as it's an ingrained habit. The impersonator might have learned the appearance, but overlooked this small detail.
Right.
Secondly, his appearance is drastically different from Jim Carrey's. The real Jim Carrey has his signature neat, short hair with a relaxed facial structure that exudes energy, even without exaggerated expression.
I don't care about that. But here he is. What is this? Oh, wait, I want to show you this. So I want to show you this. Here he is on David Letterman a few years ago. Hustle Bitch got this.
Now, we were talking about Jim's problem with the as he calls them, the stockerazzi.
This is the
because
phrase that I coined.
They stalk you. He coined that. He came up with that.
Yeah.
So how do you handle it? What is the solution? Because a lot of folks would be interested in this. What do you do?
I've done this a few times now, and it's using a decoy.
I'm sorry, a decoy.
Using a decoy. It sounds so ridiculous, but it works like
a double.
It's fantastic.
Like a Jim Carrey double.
A Jim Carrey double.
Oh, yeah, that's amazing.
So what I do is I send him off in one direction, sucks all the press in that direction, and I can just have my day. And
Whatever
just
you want to
go
do.
Wherever I want, totally unmolested. It's fantastic.
Right.
And,
Well, they say the best ideas are the simplest ones, and this really couldn't be more simple.
it really is
And
amazing.
I'm sure it works.
really works.
Right.
So there he is admitting that he's used a body double in the past.
Right.
So I think it's almost 100% certainty that he's punking the people in France giving him this award, because that is not Jim Carrey.
Because the detail of the eye color is, I didn't see it until just now, but that almost sounds like you get one where I leave a clue that if they could spot it if they want, like that seems like
Jim Carrey shows up on Fashion Week on a red carpet mocking how vacuous it is and how meaningless it is and how pointless it is, and then he would go use colored contact. So that doesn't make.
Yeah, I think we've seen enough. But I don't think that guy was Jim Carrey.
I think he looks. He doesn't look like Jim Carrey, but I think he looks enough like Jim Carrey to be his body double on a film.
Right. Right. It's crazy. It's crazy. Let me see. What's the next one? The guy who Primary Crenshaw says Tallarico is evil. Yeah, I told you about that. The truth of the Iranian sleeper cell. Yeah, this is interesting, guys. You may want to hear. Let me get past the commercial. Hang on. Here we go. All right. So wait till you hear this. This is actually kind of cool. There's Iranian sleeper cells in the United States. We know about it, but listen to what happened.
They discovered Latino women. So I spoke to one of my sources this morning. He was telling me that, look, once upon a time, the Iranian sleeper cell thing was real. Well, they got jobs, they got entered into communities, and then they started, losing the radicalism. They started loving our country. They started really loving being an American.
Right.
But something very specific caught their eye. And according to my friend,
watch this.
one of the greatest factors for why the Iranians decided to depart their mission was they discovered Latino women.
Protect big booty Latinas!
Big booty Latinas.
Big booty Latinas.
The Iranians said, "I'd much rather die for that than for
No, not die at all and get me some big booty Latina instead of doing a suicide mission and dying."
Real though.
So they're in Miami.
Yes.
So the Iranian sleeper cells were real. They were here. So they rounded up the radicals, right? That's the part of the story that you need to. They were ended up catching the radicals, but the ones who didn't radicalize, it was because they got some Latina booty.
They got some
and
Latinas.
they're partying it up
They
in
met
Miami.
a beautiful Latino woman who cooked for them, probably had tons of kids.
You know, I would say this is absolutely ridiculous, but your source has never been wrong.
There you go.
I think that is the funniest thing I've heard all year.
Isn't that interesting, though?
I think it's very interesting because think about it. You come from a third world oppressive shithole. You get here and you start looking around and you look at the stores and you look at the cars and you look at the women.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, you know what you're thinking.
Here you go. Here's one. Literally sounds like the devil speak. It's a school board person. So
of a school board, and she absolutely crashes out because someone led in prayer. Watch this.
If you put prayer at the beginning of this meeting, I don't think that's a welcoming sign to the people who are in this room tonight. How much prayer do you need?
That's none of your effing business.
How much God do you need?
Jesus.
We say under God. We say it. Why do we need to say more? This, to me, is very disturbing. If I tell you I'm offended.
Why do you say liberalism all the time and you say more? That's your
I'm
religion.
offended. I just don't understand why you're comfortable excluding people. Not everyone who was in this room tonight.
Wait a minute. How is it excluding someone? If you're not a Christian and somebody says, God bless you, are you going to go, fuck you, motherfucker? Are you really going to go up your ass? If you do, you're an a-hole. Or if you sneeze, if an atheist sneezes and someone says, God bless you, he says, thank you. Yeah.
Unless he's an a-hole.
And guess what? If you do this, we're going to have legal challenges. And guess what? It goes all the way to the Supreme Court because it's in the Constitution.
It is not in the Constitution. What's in the Constitution? She's talking about the separation of church and state, which is not in the Constitution. And they bastardized what that meant. In the Constitution, it says that you have freedom of religion, not freedom from religion.
I don't know why you need prayer to take this job seriously. But don't say this is going to unify when I'm telling you it will not.
Yeah, well.
Why do you need this?
How about we just teach civics again?
How about...
Oh, you don't need civics. How much civics do you need? You can just substitute civics for prayer and Christianity.
How about she's offended enough that she leaves the council?
Yeah, really.
That sounds good to me. Yeah, the first amendment basically is that you're free from... Basically, it says the government will not create a national religion.
Right. Well, the government says that Congress shall make no law.
Yeah, the government will not make a national religion. That's basically what it is.
Right. And the whole reason for that is, real quick, is because Thomas Jefferson at the time when he was responding to the Danbury Baptist Church that wrote to him and said, you got to help us. Our state is really screwing us here with laws, right? Well, Jefferson wrote back and said, wish I could help you, but I can't because we're at the federal level. But the state can do whatever they want, right? We're at the federal level. We're only doing things that help nationhood. And we have a First Amendment. We're not allowed to get involved. And so what happened was he thought at the time, every state in the United States, or you would say that every colony at the time, right? But every state had an adopted religion, right? They did. They used tax dollars to build churches and build the pews and buy Bibles. And why? Because our forefathers in Europe did the same damn thing. So they did that, right? So Jefferson spoke with Madison, who was president at the time, and they agreed, and they toured the country giving speeches about it. And he said that's very good, Jim. A nation that forgets its God will be forgotten by him. Very sage words. Thank you. And good to meet you, man. I haven't seen you in here before. Welcome. And thanks for being here. I appreciate it. But back to that. What happened was Jefferson saw that they just created this new Congress, a new form of government, and he feared that they would adopt their own religion and try to supersede it over the people. So he came up with the idea of the separation, but what the separation meant, what they wrote and what they preached, not what the libnuts have bastardized in the 1950s, right, in a court. What they preached was the separation was between the federal government and the states and their religions. That's what the separation was. But these a-holes want you to think, separation church and state means you can't have like a Christmas tree on government property. The hell you can't. And I love to talk about it because Thomas Jefferson, the one that supposedly said you can't have anything that has to do with religion on public property. Now, he created a church inside the Capitol building.
Yeah.
They 2,000 people per week they serviced. It was so popular they had to open one up in the War Department building, and then in the Treasury building. They had three churches weekly.
Yeah.
It's the truth, right? 3 churches weekly, and then when Madison got in after Jefferson, right, he continued to attend the church inside the Capitol, but they shut the other 2 down because they didn't have the money to keep them going. Right. And what he did was Jefferson was not a denominational guy. OK, so this is why when they have a pastor, right, when he gives the blessing at the open of every Congress, it's why they have a different denomination every week. That's what Jefferson did. OK, so when they say that he meant, don't have anything, there's a separation, you can't have religion. Bullshit.
Yeah, that's BS. It never meant that you couldn't have a Christmas tree on government property. What it meant was that the government couldn't force you to have a Christmas tree in your home.
That's
now,
right.
You do realize that people from other countries don't understand this.
Yeah. A lot of people don't, but the libnuts in our country don't.
No, let me rant for just 1 second.
Go for it. Take your time. I got one more video to play.
Okay, yeah, the Europeans come from like basically a royal and feudal system, and so they're used to a king. Even the Canadians, I don't know if you knew this, but the Criminal Code of Canada, the provinces do not have a criminal code. Criminal law is strictly federal. When my dad came to visit us,
right,
and then my dad was a police detective, smart man.
Cool.
Knew a lot about the law, and I described to him the structure of the United States, in particular how the governor is the head of state for his or her state. Right. And my dad absolutely, he was close to not believe me. He just couldn't get his head around the fact. He said, well, no, of course, the president could overrule him. I said, no. No. In certain very specific cases, federal law takes precedence, but the governor is...
That's the supremacy clause, but it has to be a constitutional law to begin with part of...
But the governor is not subject to the federal... My dad couldn't understand it.
Yeah.
My dad, and he was Canadian, and he was a smart guy. Canada. He was from Canada. And
who said that? Who was the one that said that? I forget. Canadian. Oh, she was a historical figure. Karine Jean-Pierre. She's the one that called it Canada.
Was she?
Yeah. She's the one that said it.
She was a hysterical figure, all right.
I know. She was hysterical.
But
I also sent fledgling U.S. Navy toward the Mediterranean. Yeah. Well, what happened there? You're right. But here's what happened with that. I'm sorry. You finished? Go ahead.
Basically, I'm finished. My dad.
All right. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Jade. I apologize. But
he just couldn't understand the structure of the law. It's amazing.
But yeah, what happened with if you're are you talking about the Barbary pirates or because it was Adams who wanted to build a navy. Technically, we're not supposed to have a standing army. Do you know that? Technically, the federal government's not supposed to own property either.
Isn't that what the whole Federalist Papers were all about?
Right, and exactly. But what happened was Jefferson, by the time Jefferson got in, we had a navy, and he used it because the Barbary pirates were the bunch of Muslims who would attack our merchant ships. And so Jefferson said, screw this, I'm going to use our navy to escort them. And they did. But what happened prior to that was George Washington found out that they were attacking. So he sent, who was it? It was Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, and I think Benjamin Franklin. He sent them to France, and they had a summit with equal counterparts of Muslims from the Barbary Coast, right? And they had this meeting, and they said, "Look, have we done anything to offend you?" They're like, "No, why? What do you mean?" And they said, "You know, are we all right?" And they're like, "Yeah, why are you asking?" I said, "Why do you keep attacking our ships and killing our people?" It's, well, that's easy, because it says so in the Quran. Our God tells us that we have to do this. And they said, okay, well, literally, George Washington actually approved this. They said, okay, what if we pay you an amount of money that would be the same amount, if not more, than what you would normally get attacking our ships? Would you stop attacking the ships? They went, oh, yeah, sure. So we did. And it was, at that point, it was, I think, 1 or 2% of our gross domestic product, we were paying them every year. But then after like a year or so, year and a half, they kept taking the money, but they started attacking ships again. And so John Adams was in then, and he sends them over again, and they have the meeting, and they go, okay, so you keep attacking. Yeah, but the Quran says what if but in the end, it was like 15%. And then Jefferson gets in, he goes, F this, I'm not paying anything. We have a Navy now. And so, and that's what, and the Marines were born of that. From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, it was because they were escorting the ships. And what happened was the War of 1812 came along, and we didn't have enough ships to actually help the merchant ships and fight the war. So he told the merchants, look, I got to take care of this war and defend against the Brits that think that they still own the country, right? And they're attacking the White House. And I need them. I'll get back to you. All right. Now, this shows that even back then, people watched what America was doing, because the minute he said that, the Barbary pirates, the Muslims, would come out again and start slaughtering everybody. Right. So they had to hold up the trade for a while. But as soon as it was over, the war was over, Jefferson kept his word and sent the ships out, and they just they went in and destroyed the Muslims, slaughtered them all, said that it would stop. And they promised him, we will never stop defending our ships. And that's a true story, what happened. But Thomas Jefferson, the Barbary pirates, Christopher Hitchens, yeah, arguably, Channel 6, don't panic. Love-hate relationship. I know, Hitchens was a very smart guy. And as an atheist, I don't remember him being an arrogant piece of shit. You know what I mean? He was an atheist, and he talked about it and all, but I don't remember him ever being a smart ass, like, oh, you're God, you're man in the cloud and all that crap that the rest of them did. So I had respect for him. And Christopher Hitchens was a very smart guy too. Yeah.
You had one more video you want to do?
Yeah, we have one more video we can do.
I got dinner waiting, so.
Okay, this will just take a minute.
Yeah,
this is worth it.
That.
Guys, hit that like button if you haven't already, please. It helps us. It helps a lot. So here we go. Here it is. So it's listen to the press go quiet as Pete Hegseth gives the well. Watch this. Here we go. Here we go. Watch this.
But firmness and kindness as well.
Nearly 3 million aliens have left the United States. That we have the lowest murder rate in 125 years. That fentanyl trafficking is down 56% at the border. And daily encounters have gone down 96%.
Sorry, we got to go back to this spot. Sorry, I forgot. They put it at the there it is.
How she rails on people.
This one at the bottom left
was very bitch.
Joy Behar.
She's such a bitch, and she's been a bitch for years. I used to deal with her back in the Biggest Loser days when she would go after me because she was overweight and unhealthy and just a crotchety old bitchy broad. She's a bitch, and she's always been a bitch.
You gotta love this woman, man.
How do you feel about her, though? Tell me how you feel.
Don't sugar.
Yeah. Is that Dave Rubin?
Don't hold it in.
I think that's Dave Rubin on the upper left.
The point is that they just don't seem to hear themselves and the way they rail on people. And Elizabeth actually was, as you said, sort of kind, but direct and firm. She was not abusive in any way.
Who would do it? Do you think they would have someone that is that respected and strong come back?
I think talk is out. I think it's on its last legs. It would be if they'd done it a year ago, they might have gotten another couple of years out of it, but I don't know.
They might, because it's the only thing that keeps Abby Phillips show on. Is the
I do think it's possible they will bring her back. I don't know that
Abby Phillips. Yeah, Abby. You know who Abby Phillips is, right?
Yep.
On CNN, she has her own show, and that's the show that Jennings is on.
Yep.
Right.
And he's the best thing about.
Oh, he kicks it. He's the reason why she still has a show.
Yeah.
That was
Dave Rubin, wasn't it? That was
of the war.
Rich.
Matter. Yes.
That was Dave Rubin on there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. A lot of people don't like him because he's gay. And I was always like, who gives a shit? He's a conservative. Who gives a shit? It's the rhinos that don't like him for that reason. But all right. So guys, thank you very much for being here. We love you. 3 hours goes by so quick with you guys. You guys are the best chat around. I laughed my ass off while I watch you guys. Watch my videos during the week. We'll see you here next Friday. God bless. Have a good night. Have a good weekend.
Bring a friend.
Take care, guys.
Bring a friend.
Bring a friend, please. Thank you. And hit like if you haven't already. Thanks, guys. See you.